Oh wait.
I see what's wrong. I
Oh,
see what's wrong. Now you can hear us. I still should reboot, and then we can do captures because I can't start my first topic without a window capture. Let's see. Window capture. Yeah, I gotta reboot. Oh, I hear myself. That's not good. Echo. Okay, we got sound. Good. I still have to reboot. Okay. Be right back. Sorry. You guys can stay in here. It doesn't matter. It'll be. No. No, you can stay in here. I'll be right back. Two shakes of a lamb's tail. The stream will go down, but you can stay in the hangout. Yeah.
Who wants to listen to us talk? Come on.
Stream. Cross the streams. But I should be able to still do a slideshow. But I can't show the picture I want. Oh, that's good. That's necessary thing. Picture slideshow. There we go. Bada bing, bada boom. Slideshow. Window capture. Slideshow. Which I don't see now.
You're in a super loop right now. There's like this is weird.
What is weird?
Voice and then I hear your delayed voice and then things are just like in an echo delay chamber. Strange thing.
Oh wait a minute, maybe it's me. Let me.
I don't hear anything. I don't hear that at all.
Oh. Yeah, I heard it like momentarily, and I okay.
Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe it was Gandalf.
It was Jesus tapping into Christ.
Perhaps. Oh, you know what? I'm retarded. Let's hear this. Okay, cool. I can hear myself on the output. We had a problem.
He was basically
Live. All good now. Okay, we're all good. Anyway, sorry it was so loud. All right. Slideshow's running.
three of you.
I know.
There's a lot going on right now. Am I the only one hearing this?
Oh, you're hearing me 3 times?
No,
Yeah.
I heard you once. Maybe Grimspace has it.
Crazy going on.
Should we start a new hangout?
Try reconnecting.
Let me make a new hangout. Maybe that's the problem. That's probably. Well, no, never mind. That one doesn't matter.
It might not be there.
I'll just start a new hangout. I'll send you a link. Come on, it's fun. You know it. I was muted. I'm sorry. Brandon's coming. Brandon's joining after American Gods. Let's just check.
Hung up on that last call, and I could still like hear you talking.
That's weird.
It's like you were in my computer. Like I didn't have any. Good.
You've been hacked.
You've been molested from afar.
Computer fondlers.
Now everything you've ever computer web browsed or whatever is in the Masonic lodges.
That's awesome. All right, I got to check and make sure that the video, everything's working okay.
They're reviewing your info right now, Grimstake, to see if you're a worthy candidate to be amazing.
Oh god, they're gonna be so disappointed, pissed off they wasted their time.
Hey, there's three more.
Look up enough child porn, did you?
There's three more people watching now, so than there were.
One mistake.
Number one fake. Yeah, I went back right away. I'm not using. Oh, never mind. I'm not even gonna go into it. I just want to see if I can capture this window.
Capture my
Oh, guess what? Oh, do I? Thank you so much. We need to scrap off this guy. You know what? I'm gonna do that. Oh no, we're gonna get sniped. It's working now. The excuse me. Fuck. The Hangout capture is working properly. And get rid of this guy. Yeah, do it to it. What are you gonna do?
I'm smoking.
Go for it.
I'm gonna do that also. I'm very big.
Where's Suzanne? We don't know. She's MIA. All right. Boom. Boom. All right, you guys should see us in a second. we had to change Hangouts anyway because this is all goofed up. You should see the actual Hangout window any minute. Oh, any second now. I think did I try? Yeah, I did. Okay. Everyone's out smoking, so we have to wait. I'm sorry. It's not like, these are any kind of short things, right?
I'm right here.
I thought you were smoking.
Don't you see me?
I'm not looking. I'm trying to get this thing working. Centered and, beautiful, because it has to be beautiful.
I want to be very moved right now.
You are.
I'm doing a seance over the podcast.
The podcast.
Whatever this is, goddamn.
I don't know what it is. I think it is a podcast. I think we're just going to go there.
There needs to be a catch-all term.
Hangout works. Meetup, online meetup, maybe. There's no particular theme any day, Disintegral. It's just you can't hear anyone else. They can't hear you, so why can't they hear you?
Can they hear me?
Still can't hear others. Not mother? Did you ever see Dirty Rotten Scoundrels?
I think I have, but I don't really remember.
Meetup, online meetup, maybe? There's no particular theme any day, Disintegral. It's just you can't hear anyone else. They can't hear you, so why can't they hear you? Okay, so I can hear you, but you're really low. How did we fix this last time? I don't remember. That's that. Boom. Boom. Studio mode, transition. I can't turn it up any louder. What is this? This is the slideshow. Yes, it is a great film. So they can't hear you. Oh, wait a minute. I have an idea. I bet I can do this. Grim's muted.
You can
I can hear you. Say something. Say something.
something. Let me tell you guys about life right now. It's coming at you 100 miles a fucking hour, and you're standing in the middle of the tracks just waiting for it to smack you.
And?
The question is do you just let it hit you, or do you get out of the way? I guess that's the end. Is Grimsteak back with us? I think he has.
He went outside to smoke because he's smoking cigarettes. I would get out of the way. Man, they can't hear you. What the fuck?
Good, because I had a whack ass line anyway.
Audio capture. Okay. Say something else. See if you can be heard.
Check the microphone. Check it. Check it. The
Oh, I
microphone.
see what was going on. I had two. All right, hold on. I see what's going on. Yep. I had two. I don't know how that was working before, but. Okay, where's the Hangout? The Hangout disappeared. I just deleted it. That was fucking awesome. Okay, speaker.
Control Z.
Control Z. There's actually this app has no undo. All right.
Oh, on your phone?
It's no. This is OBS. This is my blue headset mic. No speaker. Okay. Fuck you. That's fine. Whatever. I don't care. So now, boom. Okay. Say something.
Check. Testing.
Yeah, you're good.
1, 2, 3.
That's working. Oh, wait till you guys hear this one. All right. Oh, don't be bitching. We're gonna be here all night, so whatever. We can start whenever we want. We're still waiting for Grim anyway.
Because the party don't stop till 3 in the morning.
Okay, I'm gonna play this back.
What?
So, wait till you guys hear this one. All right. Oh, don't be bitching. We're gonna be here all night, so whatever. We can start whenever we want. We're still waiting for Grim anyway.
Because the party don't stop till 3 in the morning.
Okay, I'm gonna play this back.
What? It's a me, Mario.
So, wait till you guys hear this one. Okay, everything's cool. Are you there?
I am here, brother.
All right. So, what I was gonna bring up with all the transvestigations that are going on across the internet, I have found one we should really dig into.
What's that?
Hold on. I don't have the window up. There we go. I have to share it. Where's that screen share? Here we go. Here you go, right here.
Okay, I'm looking at it.
The B-52s. I think they're all transsexuals.
Are they a band or something? Or
Yeah, it's an old band. Where is the Hangout window?
Oh, Jared's back.
Holy shit. What a nightmare. I don't think we've ever had this much problem. Um, I am going to get a new computer. Oh, great. Now the Hangout's not showing again. Fuck. That's just fucking beautiful. I don't care. I do. Oh my gosh. Window capture. Oh, that's working. Okay, fine. Jeez. Good times.
Fast times at Ridgemount High.
I don't know where to hang out. Where the stream? It says my stream's offline. Oh, my event. I'm in the wrong place. That's why. Oh, we were live the whole time. Beauty. Wow. Problemas. Okay. Can you give me a sound check, Kill?
Check the microphone.
All right. Kim, how's that sound? Mary, you want to come join us tonight? We got tons of space and nothing to talk about.
What are you talking about? The world is our oyster, Jerry.
Not a Rocky Mountain oyster either.
No,
No,
no. King crab oyster.
damn straight. Are there such things?
Nope.
Okay.
But it gave a pretty good image, I thought.
It did. Like giant arms sticking out.
With a pearl in its mouth.
A pearl?
Like that's what clams do.
Oh, we have to sorry. There's someone else who wanted to be invited, I forgot. But I don't have
Reemsy would join.
Reamsy
Probably.
Reamsy?
Probably. I
Okay,
don't know.
I got a sentence. Sass is gonna join us. That's the live hangout. And Reamsy, where the hell is Reamsy? I don't even see him in my Skype.
You are not friends on Skype. What is
What?
copy? I'll send it to him.
Oh, here he is. He's way at the bottom with a question mark. There, he's got it now. Doobie doo doo doo. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, that's right. Name this to be Wunderbar.
Wunderbar.
The Wonder Waff. The Wonder Weapon.
Wunderbar.
Wunderbar.
Yes, I'm not sure.
No worries. I'm not showing. I'm not gonna get the hangout window on there. It keeps crashing on me. Where did he go? I can't hear you. I can't hear you now. No.
What mic is on?
Are we? I don't even know if we're broadcast. Oh, we should just stop right now while we're behind. Yeah, I see you.
Can you? No.
I can hear you. You're low. That's loud. Oh God.
How about now?
That's good. Are you on your phone?
Yeah, I think I'm covering up the microphone piece.
Yep. All right. All right. We are waiting for our guests. Nobody is ever on time.
I was watching part of the show that I missed yesterday. I saw you guys covered the primer fields, man.
What remind me what that was about? Is it the electric universe stuff?
Yeah, it was the counter-rotating electromagnetic
Oh
fields.
yeah, you were talking about that the other night, and
I've been talking about that for the longest, but yeah,
the
this is the governance of my entire theory, and it goes in line with like a hologram theory and like your simulation theory, man.
oh totally. Um, I wanted to ask you if well, okay, the counter rotating magnetic fields have multiple touch points, like um, the bell, the Nazi bell, Die Glocke, that used counter rotating magnetic fields with mercury, red mercury, whatever that is. And CERN uses counter rotating magnetic fields.
I thought CERN used what is CERN moving around? But I thought they were using like particles.
They are, I should say, the LHC is using counter rotating magnetic fields to push. Uh, right now, I think they're shooting lead molecules at each other to make them collide.
So they like get them swept up separately and then merge them together.
Yeah, they get them going around in a circle really fast with magnets, and then they align the beams. Basically, it's going so fast it creates a beam in a circle, and it gets them going so fast,
Yeah,
and then it points them at each other so they collide.
I see.
So that they're going like in this fashion inside, and then they smash them together.
Well, the lead moving that fast, wouldn't it heat up and change its state?
It's only one molecule, but yeah,
Yeah,
one would think that. Um, and lead is a very low melting point too, right?
yeah.
I want to say it's like
I guess
400.
it could be like a frictionless environment though. So, and if they're just
Mm,
using electromagnetic fields, I mean, it's a frictionless way to move matter.
there's still air, unless it's in a vacuum.
Yeah,
I guess it would have to be
yeah.
in a
It's
vacuum.
probably in a vacuum. It's probably in a vacuum, bro.
Well, lead
Yeah.
melts at 621 degrees. And let's see, hadron. Hadron melts at, I don't know. I don't think it, I thought it was, well, I don't know. I don't know.
I was also revisiting the thought of that peeling effect on the moon, man.
Oh, the lunar wave. What'd you think about that? What's your,
My only thing is like I've seen a lot of different like television sets kind of do that wave kind of
mm-hmm.
that thing, and my only thing is unless it's some kind of like massive projection, which you kind of suspected it could be, it might just be like being replicated on the TVs that it's recorded on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this.
Or it's
So
some other kind of distortion, maybe. Like
somewhere along the copied line, yeah.
it's just odd. It's
That-
the only thing that's odd about that is that more than one person has caught it, and it looks the same on all their cameras, and they all have different cameras. Even one guy caught it on an iPhone, even.
but are they observing it in reality and then recording it for other people to see, or are they observing it on the recording and then saying, "Look and see what I found"?
Both. I know Crow has seen it with his eyes on the telescope, and it was recorded. He has like a camera attachment or digital output, something like that. It goes to a laptop, I think, or when he did that, it did, and it records it there. So it's recorded on his laptop. But he saw it with his
With his own
he
eyes.
saw it with his eyes. He saw it on, if I remember correctly, he saw it on the laptop. He adjusted the telescope to see it, and then he saw it with his eyes, and he almost missed it.
Hmm. Yeah, it is hard to see.
Right,
I
and
don't know,
if you
man.
look
I
at
don't
through an
know.
eyepiece,
The fact that the moon is like rotating at the perfect orbit, and
it's
like
too fishy.
it's a highly suspicious object, and the fact that they've never gotten back in like turn the moon into some kind of a satellite, that's also suspicious to
Well,
me.
back is questionable,
Or
right?
ever went there in the first place by some people's
Exactly.
accounts. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on where it is.
Yeah. Well, the thing that gets me is where do people believe like satellites are just hanging out up there? Are they like getting like?
Did you see that picture I showed the other night
Yeah, I saw that picture.
with all
That's
those?
around a globe though.
Yeah. Well, if if we're not on a spinning
So
ball, then satellites are just ground technology, just radio towers. There's
and they're just saying like, oh yeah, we're sending satellites up, and then they're just like
okay.
making cell towers do all the work basically.
I don't know.
Okay, okay, no, like
There are tons of cell towers. There's no reason they couldn't be. And if you think,
I
of,
was
yeah,
go ahead,
I was going to
go
say,
ahead,
if you
man.
think about it, the only
I'm
thing
sorry.
you really need, put it this way, like you're supposed to get your internet right off of the satellites, or right, but you just plug into the wall and it goes to the Comcast or whatever building, and they just have a downlink, right, which is just a pipe to some tier one provider. I mean, everyone's just got landlines to someplace, and then allegedly at
Well,
the end it touches a satellite, right?
for it to be the internet, it doesn't have to touch the satellite. The internet's just like a local area network for the whole planet.
Okay, let's not use the internet then. Let's talk about HBO. Okay, you get it over your cable. It's like I said, it goes to your DSLAM or however you're getting your cable. It goes out to the main office. Yada yada yada. At some point, it's going to come to, I need this from the satellite to push it downstream, right? Who controls all those?
Well, as far as we can evidentially tell, all we have is the satellite we receive it at, right? And maybe it comes from a bigger satellite, but that's unlikely, right? Or is that likely? Is are we just being bathed from cell towers or satellites? Are satellites actually like bathing regions of the United States in
Microwaves?
radiation? Yeah,
Probably.
radiation. I mean,
If they're up there, yeah,
that's
totally.
they say that if you're flying for more than like a certain amount of time in the day, that you're actually passing through a
Cosmic rays.
significant amount of radiation. And I've actually felt effects from it, I believe, twice. I've traveled on 14-hour
Wow.
airplane rides, and that's from like California to Guam, I think. Did that twice when I was in the Navy. And at the end of that 14 hours, I was feeling sick. And people are like, oh, that's jet lag. And I'm like, jet lag does not make your ass feel like you've been decommissioned, like physically like that. It's just like you're tired because your day is rough. I felt
Yeah.
like sick, like I was gonna vomit, dude. And I could have sworn it was from the radiation.
I think that the radiation is making people fight up there. That's why all those. If there's been a rash of fist fights and nonsense in planes lately, have you noticed that?
I no, I have not noticed that.
Well, at least they're in the news more. I don't know if there are
Yeah,
more of them, but there's more in the news.
I wouldn't doubt it, man. It's kind of like an irritable atmosphere.
Well, yeah,
And
it sucks. It's like being in a can, a stinky one at that, and you got to
and
breathe it.
social media is
Breathe it.
charging like a lot of negative attention at the airlines with all these crazy things going on. So people are getting like testy towards them, I think.
But you're stuck in this can. You got to breathe other people's farts for 14 hours. Come on.
Yeah, it's a luxury. And oh, you know what it honestly is? It's those damn coach chairs, man. They give you no space.
No,
Your legs are like cramped. I'm 5'8", not even, and I'm cramped on those things.
I'm 6'2".
Oh my god, dude,
Yeah,
I can only imagine. And it's like a small kind of torture just sitting in one of those coach seats for at least 2 or 3 hours, man. It's like you're never comfortable at any point.
no, unless you get the bulkhead. I just try not to fly anymore. If I can't drive there, I don't go.
So here we go. We got Grim Stakes,
Finally,
block running ass back.
Yeah, Mary said that the ISS always needs to be refueled, but I want to say that I don't think it has any engines or anything. You know,
Yeah.
That has those huge solar panels on the side.
that provides electricity for the experiments.
The experiments.
ISS retro rockets. I don't even think it has retro rockets. Retro,
I don't
space.
know. I think why do you think people are so like turned off from the globe nowadays?
Because it.
I think they just want a question.
Hold on, I'm looking at this.
I think people want like a great story too, like what what would be part of like I mean, the phrase like the great deception, right? Like
Yeah,
clearly we're kind of like sorting out the great deception in these days, it seems
Yep.
like to
yeah,
me.
totally.
And I think that's part of it. I think people would like look at a flat earth and be like, they convinced us it was a globe, man. That was ridiculous, man. Like they told us the sun was thousands of miles away, that we were spending thousands of miles an hour. That was impossible. But
I think.
honestly, like theories of atmosphere and relativity, it seems totally possible to me that things are that far away, things are that that grand in scale. And I really actually hope it is, because life would be quite boring,
Well, what if
stuck
it's.
concave or otherwise.
What if it's not. What if we're not stuck, you know? What if there's places just like this, but they're in a different dimension, if you want to call it that?
I mean, that I guess would open the door in an equivalent way, and I'd be definitely open arms if I was restricted. But space exploration is thrilling, dude. Like
But
thinking about all the quasars and stuff like that have like these crazy light arrays and gaseous clouds. Like that would just be a sight to see in itself, I think.
from my understanding, those are
Yeah.
all theoretical things.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I've seen a video or if I've got a past life memory or if just what. I just feel like these nebulous clouds with these bright reds and greens and yellows I've seen, they just feel real to me. Like I don't know.
And I'm completely open to the possibility of a dimension of space too. You know that you can go fly around it. That could be. Personally, I think the dimensions are entire universes. So whatever that means.
Well, they say space is not actually empty.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
I don't think it is. I don't actually think it exists. I think it's a projection of like our consciousness of what's inside us, and because you
Well,
know
everything's like that, man. I
well,
mean,
no, more so because on a global scale, on a global humanity scale, we don't. Everyone believes that it's that, so we see that, right?
It's the
But
collective consciousness.
right,
yeah.
so we see that. But whenever if people start to realize that it's basically a desktop full of icons of places to go, when you just shift your focus here or there, and you can go to Mars or whatever, if we could. And I think space, what we see in the sky would change when people start changing their attitude. I think space would collapse or look completely different, but I bet the stars would be the same.
You would say the stars are that way, like it's any different that your immediate extended reality would be any different than that, because those would all be like stemming holographic reflections from those streams of starlight.
Possibly, or they're local.
They would definitely be like translocal, but ultimately like I would explain it like waves in an ocean. There's greater crests and minor crests, and
Hmm.
these starlights would suppose, or like superimpose, you could even say, over the space and time that you're experiencing your reality. They would superimpose a general image across space and time.
So like
Just from the yeah.
like a global map.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a general template to it, but within the bounds of that,
Well, that's an interesting idea because that would work where you've got multiple. Think about it as a giant holodeck with multiple rooms.
and then
Next
you tie in
and you've got a
the
single.
double slit experiment to this,
Right,
Jay.
right.
And then you think about, okay, so it's like this general supposition, and then all potentials between that exist, and it's this probability wave that you end up looking at.
And then collapse.
Yeah, well, I think I think God is actually like continually resupplying the universe with enough energy to keep the vibrational state going. But I think things
Yes,
do like
we are.
decay and drop off. I think like
There's
you
entropy.
can get you can get lost in a way, like at this moment of creation, and like drop off. It's like this rotting decay of sorts. I'm not sure how to put that.
It's entropy
Yeah,
essentially.
like like when you hit a tuning fork and the sound over time goes away. Like
Hmm.
if you don't like re-nourish or like re-energize the tuning fork, the statement that is Michael Dinan is like its own tuning fork. So if you don't re-energize that, I go away.
That makes sense.
Man, yeah,
Brandon,
definitely.
what's up?
What's up, Brandon?
And we've just
Hello, everybody.
dropped a new chord called the Brandon Young.
We were hung up on space.
We're just
You guys missed my joke at the beginning.
What was it?
I was calling for a transvestigation of the B-52s. I think the females are males and the males are female.
In the band,
Yeah,
you mean?
yeah. But nobody knew who they were in the call, so it would just was.
Love
Jamie, I
shot.
heard before the Mandela effect that wasn't true, but afterwards
I
it
th-
became true.
It could have been that the Mandela effect caused all these people to become transsexuals. I don't think
Yeah.
there's this guy.
Transgender
There's just this guy
didn't exist.
on YouTube I see all the time, Mr. E, I think his name is, who has like every day more and more. Oh, this woman's a man. This guy, this, it's hilarious.
Right.
I think he had a whole show last time that was all like the Walking Dead. That was it. It was the Walking Tranny Dead or something like that. Like, dude, come
So
on.
he's just a transvestigator then.
Yeah,
You ever been like skimming through porn and then be like, hold on, this it's not a girl, it's a trans dude. Like they're like trying to sneak it in
Actually,
on
no.
you.
no, actually, no, I haven't.
It's happened to me, man. It's happened
Yeah.
to me.
It happens to the best of us. You can't stop that.
I
Try
had,
to sneak it in.
I actually had a date with one by act. She didn't tell me. He didn't tell me. One date.
Brian
Oh, man.
Callen kissed one and like was, going deep with it, and then he felt like a little nuts and granola or whatever. And
Well,
he wanted to be nice, so he kissed her and said he had an ulcer or something.
I was gonna throw up a little
Joe
bit. In my
Rogan?
mouth. I was gonna throw up a little in my mouth.
Yeah.
I thought I remember that story.
I don't know. People are people. Playthings are playthings. Doesn't matter.
Playthings are playthings.
The world is my plaything.
Oh, here it is. I found it. MRE is this guy's name. The Walking Tranny Dead. This guy. Don't sub this guy's new transvestite's new name for transgenders. I don't know about that. Yeah, so he's like saying all the people on the show are whatever. He's high. I'm just.
I got a quote for you guys.
Yeah.
Reality is God's Rubik's Cube.
It depends on what God is.
I don't
Good.
know.
It's
I was
us.
just hitting you with something I said once.
I think it's us.
Oh yeah, I do too. I think we're each like a filigree of God's awareness, and like each one of us is if God said "what if" in it, like a different way each time.
Mm.
What if this is? And then we're all kind of going through our own little what if journey.
I always
yeah.
like the allegory
I like
of
that.
losing God that loses its memory and then finds itself again.
Oh yeah, I love Alan Watts, man. He does like a beautiful little thing where he like goes all through that, man.
Yep, I was really influenced by Alan Watts.
Me too.
I ended up being friends with his son, Mark.
No
He's
kidding.
actually kind of a jerk. Yeah, 'cause he would, like, do you remember the podcast Psychedelic Salon?
No.
Okay, they always played like a lot of early McKenna stuff
Go away.
and stuff like that. But he tried to sneak in an Alan Watts, Allen Ginsberg, and I want to say Jack Kerouac or somebody like that. Trialogue was Alan Watts, Timothy Leary, and Allen Ginsberg, and they were on his house, Alan Watts' house in Sausalito, And then anyway, it was stricken because Mark told me it's soon by the week's out and
What?
kind of stuff. So it's very hard to find. But YouTube, it's kind of unstoppable. You know what I mean? So yeah. But early on, he tried to like get all the content and sell it and things like that. But he's kind of a jerk. But I'm friends with him. I know him.
Hey, is Josh here? Are you in here, Josh? Is it Josh or Joshua? What do you prefer?
Joshua is good.
Okay. Hey, Josh. Joshua. I'm sorry. I did it again.
Hey, Joshua. Instantly.
I just wanted to say hi.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in. Your channel is Authentic Intent,
Yes.
and thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for the invite.
Anytime.
Appreciate it. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Nice to meet you.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
To our craziness.
Good. Yeah, it's good.
So, what do you think of extraterrestrials, Josh?
Yeah. Well,
Oh, good. This
Do you
nice.
I've
go
been listening
towards
for a
the
couple of
white
minutes.
light or away from it? When you do you go towards the white light, or are you a person that goes away from it?
Away.
You go towards the
I was
light.
asking Josh.
Oh,
All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I don't know what that is. I've never had a near-death experience like that. But to get to TMI, you guys, I did, and when I was 24 years old, try to commit suicide.
Ooh.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
did
So
you say you did have an
that experience.
ND or not? I'm sorry.
Well, I don't really think so because I chose to get help. I had overdosed on my antidepressants at the time, sleeping pills, and like a half a bottle of vodka.
Wow.
So I was sitting there with Sarah McLachlan's "In the Arms of the Angel" song playing in the background. So it was like
Perfect way to
a
die,
real
right?
Twilight Zone. Twilight Zone.
Man.
So
What got you
called
there,
a friend.
man?
Called a friend, and he picked me up, and I went to the ER, and they gave me a tube of charcoal to eat, and
Yep.
I woke up the next day thinking that it was just another regular day, but from that point on, I think my journey has been leading me up to talking openly with people about flat Earth in my state capital, for example. So it's been a journey so far. So yeah, I would think that you would go to the light, but at that time I was going towards darkness, and I didn't know what would happen at that time. I just felt this immense type of like,
Right.
you need to do something. This is not
Well,
time.
right. The reason why I asked is because a lot of people who do talk about flat Earth a lot, they'll say that the white light is actually the false light, and that we're predictive programming in movies. People open up a door and it's a white light, and so on and so forth. When really that is the something that will capture your soul and send you back into reincarnation and prevent your ascension. So I'm just wondering, like, what your stance is on that. So
In my opinion, from my experiences and what I feel my discernment is, Hebrews 9:27 takes care of reincarnation.
I agree.
It is
I don't
appointed
believe
to
in
man
reincarnation.
for die to one. It is appointed for man to die once and then
That's
the
right.
judgment. So
That's right.
I don't.
So you don't believe in any of that nonsense. I don't either. I'm just asking.
No.
You guys don't believe
sure,
in
yeah.
reincarnation?
No,
Interesting.
I don't. Anyway, I believe it's an idea that has a lot of resonance with people on Earth, but I don't think it's a true thing.
What about like those kids who come back and can remember shit about who they
I've seen some
were?
of those kids. Yeah, I
Oh,
think
that's
a
so
lot of
crazy.
it is training and operant conditioning by the parents. A lot of times behind those kids that are like quote unquote old souls, you'll find like a very pushy mother or father right behind them, watching every step they do, and they offer rewards and punishment based on it. So, and kids are just getting smarter. Good.
I can say in my travels, if reincarnation is true, why do I have to care about poor people? Don't they deserve it?
Exactly. That's the logical outcome of that. Sometimes.
I think reincarnation could be like a genetic memory thing. Like if these kids are being born into like similar genetic lines, it could be part of their. It's because consciousness being
point.
a field, they could just be accessing a field of awareness, and they're maybe likenable to this character persona, and so they're accessing information about their life, you know, like, oh, this was me, you know, it's
Yep.
like a case of
Yeah,
mistaken identity.
sure. I mean, when we watch movies, we do the same thing. We put ourselves in the particular shoes of a character we identify ourselves with, and then if that character dies at the end of the movie, you look back at your choice of identifying yourself with this character, and you're like, okay, so if I continue my life choices the way that I am, I could end up this movie.
Yeah, living vicariously through. Yeah, I had a moment like that when I was on like a roaring acid trip where I felt like I was like relating back through like deep lineages with like within humanity, like back to like some of the first beings ever that lived. But
Was that with
um,
within your own DNA lineage?
yeah, yeah. And my friend was saying like he's like you probably intuited a lot about the Celtic lineage through like archetypes that you just kind of like learned from like watching TV shows and video games, and you expressed them in this way. Like, but it's like you probably like inherited this intuition or like this knowledge of it, but it's like, but the names that are referenced like to the occult information that he knew about, I'm sure it would have no correspondence to what I was saying. But I really felt like a lot of things clicked in, like genetically. Like if you ever watch these animes, it's always about like the passing of the torch between like this like super iconic person to his son, who is also someone who seems to fit the hero's shoes perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of that has to do with like prime candidacy for recipients, like the spirits, so to speak, would choose you, or your ancestral lineage is like a harmonic frequency, and those who are closer to it would end up being the conduit or the channel for that energy.
Right.
You know, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of what it's all about.
There's also I don't. This it only relates in as far as the ancestral memories, but there are people I've heard say talk about that your genetic memory and your knowledge base of your ancestors is all stored in your DNA, and through meditation you can connect with those memories like you did. You had to use a giant acid trip to do it, but once you connect, you can access all those memories through that data bank, if you will. And when you're talking to your ancestors, they're really just
Exactly.
projections out of your DNA, if you want to say that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the New Age calls the Akashic records.
Yeah,
You know,
And that's
but
what
really it's
Superman is all about, and it helps
yeah.
us kind of like put ourselves in the Hall of Crystals, like because we all, you know, live vicariously through the story of Superman by this point.
he's an illegal alien, if you ask
I
me.
sure did. He's sneaking across the border.
The Superman story is just like that shit, man.
All of
Well,
the stories
Superman's
are just
interesting.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Superman's definitely because like here's somebody that can survive anything. He meant a lot to people at the atomic age. He comes out of the atomic age because he can, Superman can walk on the sun, not be burned.
Mm-hmm.
He's empowered by the sun, in fact. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
an atomic bond, someone that can survive an atomic bond was made into some sort of archetype at that point. And it's so strong that I remember every Halloween came around, I always was Superman. I was Superman when it wasn't Halloween. So, I'm huge into Superman. And Grant Morrison did probably the best Superman story, if you ever want to read it, called All Star Superman. And it's all about it's hailed as the best Superman story.
And you know what though, Brandon, is that
Hmm.
the way that he works with the Earth Sun is
Yes.
also in congruence with electric universe theories, because if he came from a
Absolutely.
higher frequency star, his molecular or like the frequencies that he's composed of would be of a higher integrity than those
Yep.
that were governed by a yellow star. And when he would
Yep.
come to Earth, he would just be molecularly just put together by like the bonds of electricity and magnetism that form his body just just way better than
Mhm.
anyone else by comparison.
Yep.
And it's not like they were super people, because on their planet they were regular.
Right. Pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much.
They were
There was
regular.
a class division a little bit. There's a little bit of a class division. It depends on what storyline you go with.
And that
But
kind of
There were the warrior class.
I'll interrupt here for a minute if you don't mind, but that's why I go back to when I heard you guys talking about outer space and how we get our like ideas. You look at other stars and they turn into nebulas. And I think that goes back to space art. If you Google space art, that's where they come up to give us children that imagination in our mind about space.
Yep.
And when you experience space as water, or various ways of how they can reproduce stars in water or light in water using frequency and vibration, I think that you can come into this reality, this physical form, but I don't think we can get out. And I think that the only time that ever happened was when Jesus Christ ascended back into heaven. And so later, I think the big reveal will be a race from Antarctica or the North Pole or something will come. And the revealing won't be aliens. The revealing will be the earth is flat. And these are our people because they look exactly like us. And these are just higher spiritual vibrational beings who have the sense or the appearance of integrity, purity, and whatnot, but they are in fact not. And
Are you talking about like the people in stasis in Antarctica?
Yeah, something like that. Mm-hmm. They're the golems. I think a lot of the stuff that they're going to present to us are going to be some kind of golem or whatnot that have to have some kind of seance or something to be presented so that they can have a body.
Well, then
or
they're
a
not
spirit come
aliens.
into them.
They're not aliens then.
No, they're not aliens. They're just more advanced human beings than us. I think that we are significantly behind because they keep a lot of information from us. I think the human race right now, what they present with us, touchscreen phones and whatnot, we're 30, 50 years behind them.
Probably.
In technology-wise.
If not more. I agree.
If not more, right?
It depends. There's so many stories and the waters are so muddied. You're not even talking about like a breakaway civilization. You're talking about like original people or prior civilization people.
This is almost like reminiscent of concave Earth theory, or not theory, but kind of type stuff to me, because like these people or this extraterrestrial race that he's talking about has also been thought of as they've been called the Agarthans, people that live in the center of the Earth, and there's like a central star in the center. There's no lava, they say, right?
Plasma, yeah.
Shambhala.
Yeah,
but that exists in a different plane, though. It's not in 3D with us.
Yeah, it's in a different plane. And Demolition Man hints at that in that book that we read, A Brave New World, right, where the top people would be sacrificed every once in a while by the people who live below. I think that is something to think about. I think that may or may not be where famous people go when they're, quote, killed.
To the next plane or to some...
No, to underground.
Yep.
To the underground, or to maybe even a secret base
it's also
underneath Denver, Colorado airport.
A lot of stuff is from Jules Verne. Yeah, right.
So is authentic supposing that people never died, that they just get like relocated to
a particular race of people, that are still human beings.
Maybe
it's
not
like
all people.
A separate family or bloodline.
Yeah, maybe not all people, but I think you said celebrities and things like that. People that die at like a younger age, maybe. It's interesting.
And then they're reintroduced as something else,
After
Paul McCartney.
After a generation can forget about the old one, though. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You give it.
But also, you should entertain the thought that the land masses, as they've been presented to us on the globe and whatever maps, may not be accurate, or there may be other land masses.
Yep. I don't discredit that. No, not at all, because I don't know. Yeah. But I do when I do my street interviews, though, I do have to present a simplified, because people see outer space as infinite, and we can wrap our mind around that because we grew up like that. But to present infinite land and outer space isn't real, to like completely invert what we've been taught, I got to limit to a pie. I got to say the crust is the Antarctica, keeping all the water in, and then we just have this land here. But I think that the establishment is keeping information about resources, land, and water that they're keeping us from. And then,
that's certainly
and then
true,
people
but
can
it doesn't
like
follow that the Earth is flat from that. I mean, I agree that resources are being kept from us, and there's a lot of information that's being kept from us.
What if
technology, but therefore doesn't follow that the Earth is flat?
What if the shape of the Earth is subjective?
Well, everything's subjective. What if everything's subjective? You know what I mean?
Well, yes and no,
You
but I
gotta.
mean, there are groups of subjectivity, though.
Mhm.
You know,
Subject to what would you say? Like gravity?
no, no, no,
That's
no,
why
no, no.
defining.
Go ahead, Brandon.
That's why the definition. That's why the definition of terms is really important here. So when we talk about flat Earth, what are we talking about? Are we talking about
And
concave, high Earth, the deep dish pizza, the slice of pizza? You know what I mean? Thin crust. Like even I have. It was.
you what?
You think you kind of cut out? But
Uh,
yeah, he's cutting out. I was thinking the same thing Brandon
so
was
it's all
thinking.
about how you define the terms and how we agree with our subjectivity to agree that yes, that is what we would call Earth, that is what we would call flat, et cetera, et cetera. Until we define our term, is
Yeah, right. So we need to all get on the same page with terminology, is what you're saying. And then,
right,
right.
exactly. Yeah.
So what I meant by subjective is that I can look at, I can make observations and come away with a local observation, like here in Atlanta, that everyone just dropped off. Like in Atlanta, I can make observations and say, it
I survived. I'm still here.
sorry, just
Yeah.
this is Hangouts. Welcome to Hangouts. We're gonna do Skype next time, and not mess with us. Wait for Brandon. There he is.
I'm back.
All I was saying was that like the observations that I've made here in Atlanta do not jive. I can find no curve.
Hmm.
Now, other people can, if they did the same. This is what I found. When I can make, I've done observations, I've done my own measurements, yada yada yada. When I present them to someone, they'll say, "Oh, you're crazy. It's round. I can see the curvature." So that's a subjective thing, and they will refuse to do any of their own observations or experiments because science.
Uh, can I challenge you with a thought? I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that
Please
I
do.
think it's I think it's objective because we're taught that since we were kids. So I think that because it's a belief that we've been indoctrinated into, we believe it's true, even though now us flat earthers have been able to lift that veil away from our eyes and we can see the truth. But I think in their eyes it's objective. It's not. It just can't be separate until they realize that school is a prison for your mind.
Right, right. I don't disagree. It is absolutely their program to react that way, no question. But even still, if you even get, people who are semi-intelligent won't even consider it. And I've heard people even, strongly yell, "Oh, I could see it from a plane window," which you cannot see. So, I don't know. And my comment to you would be that you don't know that it's flat. It just appears flat. None of us know what it is. I think it's somewhere in between. Myself, it's not round. It's not flat. I mean, it appears flat when we walk on it, but maybe when we go up to a certain level, it looks round from up there, from a different. Maybe it's the next room in the holodeck or whatever. Who knows? I think it has different shapes and looks from wherever your vantage point is. And I forget who talked about this last night or this afternoon. Was that you, Grim? You were talking about the Kobe satellite, the Kobe map of the universe.
No, that was not me.
Who was talking about it? Someone brought up the fact of the background. There was an article written by I forget whom about the background radiation mapping of the universe, and his the person who did it came away thinking that
Sorry.
no worries, came away with the conclusion that the Earth is the center of the universe based on the mapping of that background radiation. But if he had made that observation from, say, Jupiter, it would point to Jupiter being the center of the universe. In that way,
Because he's collecting data from a centrist point,
correct,
and he's only collecting the data that makes it to that centrist point.
correct. So, I mean, those kind of things,
But that's a universe of relative centers, and in like in an infinite universe, that would make a lot of sense because we're all radiating light and we're all receiving light, and so we're all like the centers of our own universe.
right. I don't know. I don't, I have no idea.
Right, because like it would seem like for everything you do, like if you're having a relationship with your reality, if it is actually like working with you on some level, then that means it's responsive to your actions and thoughts. And it would almost take an entire universe to collaborate itself for it to be so cohesive. But I don't know. That's just kind of the way I think of that.
No, and that's cool. I don't know. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on it. Space could be fake, could be real. I have no idea.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I think the crazy thing about space is that it's so like absolutely considered like empty and barren that the concept itself is hard for people to like conceptualize. And the way that there's actually like no such thing as a light particle. It's like a field or like a I don't know.
What? I'm sorry.
It's
What?
just things
Why
that
is
are
everyone
just,
muted?
What's
it's
a,
way too large for us to comprehend. We have nothing to even compare it to. We can't even like I don't think our minds can even come up with anything to compare it to. Space is just vast and empty. It's crazy.
I just know that dark matter probably doesn't exist.
well, they haven't been able to find it.
Yeah. It kind of fucked me up how long it took for them to prove black holes too. I'm like, it's not that hard to kind of figure out when there's no light coming through certain round spaces
Well, they had to change
of
their
space regions.
equations and models to find it. Remember, Hawking had to flip his whatever. He had to flip
His
his
other tooth.
yeah his other two. No, he had to flip his viewpoint on it because originally he said that nothing could escape, no information could escape a black hole. But then he came up with the idea of Hawking radiation that could escape.
Hawking
Yeah,
radiation.
yeah. I remember seeing Discovery Channel videos of like these giant plasma beams coming off on parallel side or like
Yeah,
opposite ends
like
of
a
this black
quasar.
hole. Yeah.
Hello, James and Suzanne. How you guys doing?
Good man.
Hey
Yeah,
there.
I'm here.
Oh, right.
And we have
Hey
I was
there.
like, oh, that
Hello.
came in. It just went AFK.
we got another guy joining us in a second.
We're in stereo.
Disintegral.
Yeah,
He's from
What happened to Brandon?
probably
he
got.
said he'd be back.
Oh, cool.
Oh, I missed it.
Who's talking to me? Jerry.
So you're not recording this, chair?
No, it's live.
No, we're on YouTube right now.
I hope so.
Oh, it says off air
Yeah, I got a weird thing like that.
on my phone, which I've never seen before.
Same. Same.
Oh, no, my phone's
Weird.
fine.
I think people are talking to us. So I think
Same.
they would say that we're not on if we weren't on.
It's
Yeah, well, I mean, I haven't checked.
totally live.
Wait,
It's
wait.
live on
Off
the-
air. Yeah. This hangout is off air, but it's a hangout on air. Never mind. Yeah,
I got it.
pay no attention to this.
He's broadcasting through a third-party program, so it
Correct.
doesn't show in the Hangout.
Yes.
Ooh.
So we cannot be sniped.
Snipe.
Well, there are people out there.
Sniper.
If you show your hangout link, people can get in and become moderator. There's some kind of backdoor to do that. Then they kick
When
everyone
did they
out.
coin that term?
Sniping?
Yeah, when was that?
A long time ago.
We are live. Okay.
It's not just from hangouts. People get sniped on other platforms. Failed.
Yeah,
There he is.
Hey,
Like IRC. Like there's. I don't know where that came from though. I could look it up.
Ventrilo.
catch me up. What are we doing?
Sorry about your grandpa.
What's up, Phil?
failed.
Somehow we got into flat Earth again.
Fucking flatter.
Somehow, some way.
We were talking about space and it led.
Back to flat Earth.
Yeah, I don't.
That'll.
I can't make a claim, and this was my problem with the flat Earth community right now. They're starting to splinter. You've got. I know you paid attention to IPS when he's doing right. Authentic, Joshua.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I was an indirect direct part of a lot of those
So was I.
chat raids, and it's something that I had to
No, I didn't do the
repent
raids.
of. I felt like, well, I used to be addicted to video games. I didn't have a problem us raiding video games. So, to get people that are just allowing kids to watch these things, these kids are watching YouTube, watching somebody play Friday the 13th, and then they're playing with their fidget spinner. So the most zombified generation that we've had recently, and to go in there and tell everybody about flat Earth, it, but I did step back a little bit and I realized like, this isn't something I feel comfortable doing regularly for the community. So
So I've been watching everybody and seeing what's going on. And I've been in all the hangouts and stuff. And my problem that I came to is that I can't make a decision if it's flat or round. I can't tell, and I don't think anyone else can. And to come out and say you have, you know, people came out and said you have to make a choice: is it round or flat? You're either with them or with us. That's pretty. That's pretty.
Oh my
That's
god.
pretty
Two
divisive.
party system.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then the whole flat Earth penguin thing started up, which is hilarious. Don't get me wrong, but I think that's going to backfire. So I mean, I just hope it doesn't turn out to be something that hurts even more than what was going on before.
I thought Lord Stephen Christ's psyop video was kind of clever.
I don't follow him.
Oh man, you're missing out on a lot of boring ass shit.
yeah.
What do you
he's
think I'm
such a
doing in
video
here?
too.
He really like, for someone who has the most sensational thing to really tell everybody about, he doesn't say anything interesting hardly ever, man. It fucking kills me to try and watch a video.
That's because he's Jesus.
Good God.
Wait, I thought he was.
I pretty much have stopped
What? Stop what?
watching Lord Stephen Christ. I looked at the title. I thought it was a clever concept for a video. If what he said was true about
He was.
what.
It was. Do you remember James and Grim? Do you guys remember when Fade to Black? Was it Fade to Black or Chanter? I don't remember. Who interviewed Jesus Christ? It was Jimmy
It
Church.
was fade. Yeah, it was fade to black.
Yeah, that was like I. It was like, oh, why? What is this?
Who the hell was that?
Some guy named Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
really
man.
weird.
It was weird.
God, I'm trying to remember.
Was he
that.
of
That was a
Hispanic
weird-ass
descent?
No,
I hope so.
Nor Arabic.
Okay.
Oh man.
No, it
Did he
was
have a
weird.
legal name change? Which judge approved this?
I don't know. I don't know. When I tried to change my middle name to Danger, they wouldn't let me.
Oh,
Ah.
so like to live life dangerously.
I just wanted so I could pick up chicks. My middle name is Danger.
Yeah.
I thought it would be cool. It'd be funny.
You let Rodney
Well-
Dangerfield do it?
I remember you brought up IPS and what he's doing. What do you think of, speaking of picking up chicks, what do you think about Flat Earth Asshole and his
I like Jake.
videos?
There's nobody I don't like. Really. Everyone's really genuine, and I don't think there's any shills there. I don't think. Maybe. But
I like Jake.
Jake seems to be like real authentic, real in your face. Like
He is.
this is my truth. Yeah, it's passionate. I like it. And he seems like he'd be a cool dude to hang out with.
Totally.
Hang out.
There's nobody in the community I would not hang out with. Well, maybe a couple of the weird ones. The chat listeners.
Jake's all
The one,
weirded out now, though.
Okay, Steph said we are live. Thank you, Steph.
We got this.
Well, you guys were saying we're not live, but you were looking. Never mind. Anyway,
Yeah, it's because what our phone said. We trusted an electronic device. Sorry.
no, it's all good. I wish I could. I wish I could put the Hangout on the screen
No, it's fine.
and not crash the stream.
I know.
Oh fuck!
I think we spent about 5 hours on it.
Hold on, there's vacuuming going on.
Okay.
Hey, no vacuuming. You don't have to vacuum right now. I'm on a fucking
James,
call.
who won?
I'm live on YouTube. Do not vacuum.
James
Other time. And it's not working. It's
failed.
not. It's not work. Shh. It's not working. You got to fix it. It's okay.
Anybody? Bueller?
I'm here. I'm dealing with something.
I know. I was trying to ask James who won the game today.
What
He
game?
must be gone.
Yeah, probably putting kids to bed. 10:30, 7:30 though.
And then failed. Did not answer.
He's in the tub.
Probably.
Sipping on rosé.
And juice, rosé and juice. Well, I don't know where the other dude went. I gave him the link. We're gonna have to get Steph in here. Steph, you want to come in? So, yeah, I don't know. My whole thing with the flat Earth thing and the reason I pulled away was because they were getting to this point where, uh, like Patriot Act level, you're either a patriot or you're either with us or not, and and I just think that's bad. I don't want to be, you know,
They're getting
decisive.
desperate.
Don't put me in your
I think a
box.
lot of people are getting sick of being told they're stupid or crazy when they can make observations and see that it appears flat. But there's more ways to explain that than a flat Earth or a round. I mean, you could have a flat surface on a round Earth. We could be on a very extra large a large sphere with a, a chunk, a pond. Think of it as a pond with the continents inside of it. That's on the top of a sphere. That would look totally flat to us.
You know what though? It's sometimes it's not so much about like what people can scientifically prove because they've given up on themselves as scientists before they ever began, but sometimes it's like what kind of future are you bidding for with a flat Earth versus a globe Earth? You know what I mean? People want to have a future worth living, and a flat Earth future is very biblical, very prophetical, and people I think in general kind of like move away from stuff like that and they move towards something more sciency, which outer space would offer with different extraterrestrials and other things like that.
Right, but could it also be that because we've been fed all this imagery and stories of outer space and extraterrestrials that in fact we're manifesting it or programming it?
I think that could be true. I believe that mass consciousness and like your ability to believe something is a kind of like a powerful kind of lever, so to speak, which may cause manifestation. So yeah, I think
Well,
that's possible, man.
I guess I could go as so far as to say if the flat Earth would be a quote biblical or creator type idea, then the establishment has been able to create something that's completely opposite, which then would be a religion. And then they use school to teach that because you're only really allowed to teach one side of the story. And so when kids
They have
graduate,
media. They have movies, that have taught it to
well,
us.
sure, because they're technically all wrapped in the same thing. That's why
And
NASA
isn't
and
that
Hollywood are
isn't that
together.
Satan's industry? Like the media
It is,
industry,
yeah. I
entertainment.
no, I totally get it, and I think that he is allowed, or we have allowed, movies and that type of imagery to manifest itself onto the television. Especially after you see what Bill Nye represented when I was growing up, and now look at his TV show on Netflix, episode 9, where it says we're all just colors and can be whatever we want. That would never fly even 15, 20 years
Well,
ago.
that's an agenda being pushed right there.
No,
Hmm
yeah,
hmm
it's
hmm
a Baphomet type of agenda. And I heard you guys talking about
Yeah,
transgender and that
not seriously,
investigations.
not seriously, but yeah, we were.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
I was making a joke about the overwhelming amount of them going on.
Now you wish you didn't.
Yeah. Well, no,
right.
I mean, okay, is it possible? Absolutely. It doesn't matter? No. Who gives a shit? Now, to Joshua's point about the Baphomet and the androgyny, that you think of it also in a transhuman agenda as well. If you are inside a computer or a robot, you are just basically genderless or sexless, right? So, I mean, it could be
Yeah.
either
Yeah,
or. It
yeah, I
doesn't have to
agree.
be necessarily related to a god or goddess.
But there are disclosure works that kind of I've found like in Ben 10 universe and other places like with like the story of the Greys that they've bred themselves out of the ability to continue their line, and so in a way they would be working with humans to try and get that ability back or like to carry on their genetic lineage
Have
through
Yeah.
us.
Have you ever heard the story about the Greys being so? Um, if you're like picture our timeline, right? And there's a nuclear war, but some people go underground, and into the bases to live, just wait till it's safe, and then they come up. I've heard stories that those are the people that became the Greys, and they're in the future, and they come back in time to try and, fix their genome so they can reproduce. They're
Hmm.
basically us
So
from the future.
so this whole like transhumanism, transgender movement could even be like a movement towards something which we've been almost warned about. You know what I mean? Like, hold on, like you go too far in this direction, and you could very well lose your ability to naturally procreate.
Yeah, and
Right.
that would be my point. That's why I don't have you know, to an extent, I don't have a problem with the homosexual community at this moment because I'm just on the flat Earth bit right now. But if you were, and I know I just want you to follow me here and just see where it leads, and then judge it after I say it. But if you were to put the whole population of the homosexual transgender community on an island and let them hang out there for 100 or 150 years, they would all die off. And that's the point, is that the enemy is trying to create this normalcy of this idea and impregnate it into the human consciousness. So then over a period of time, we accept it. But how long is it going to be until we're being born in an artificial womb? So then it just takes the God complex completely out of all reproduction of human beings. And that's why they're introducing the transhumanism, is because they want us to be comfortable with AI that are genderless. So then us organic beings become genderless also.
And lose our
And so
creation
then,
abilities.
yeah,
Now, the only thing I just would say to that is, you say they, their agenda. I forgot exactly the term you used, but we can't be sure who or what that is exactly.
And transhumanistic kind of thinking and transgenderal kind of thinking, doesn't really spawn up on like a survivalistic island scenario. It seems to me that it would only really come up in a grand society kind of equation. And it also seems to me like it could be a byproduct of something like reincarnation, where, let's say, someone lives a bunch of lives as a woman and then goes into like a man's, or maybe it's like this ancestral thing too, like what I was saying. Maybe they have
Yep.
like a predominantly masculine lineage, and there's a lot of masculine energy in the genomes, and you're just the conduit of that. You know what I mean? And I don't think like transgendered thinking would make it anywhere in a reality, or like in a world where you don't have like a society with plastic surgery and extraneated chemicals, so that you can take them and start switching the biochemistry of your body from more of a estrogen to a testosterone
Testosterone.
based one. These kinds of ideas don't really, like, people may not have even had the time to think about whether or not they feel like a manly woman or a womanly man. Back in the day, they might have been too busy just simply trying to survive and get food.
I think it's more of a conditioning that's going on. That's the way I look at it. That the population is being conditioned to accept androgyny, or either way, transvestitism, and all of it kind of blends into androgyny. And by accepting that, then you'll accept a robot body more easily. And it's not going to happen, in 10, 20 years, maybe, I don't know. But it's a long game. It's not all happening now.
But like those robot bodies, they would have to be like really nice, man, because the human body it's naturally made for consciousness. And even if you could transport your consciousness from like flesh to robot, who's to say that you're actually even the same person anymore? That may be a replica of your spark, which is your soul, but it may not be exactly you. I mean,
I think
well,
there's a lot of people out there. There's two different views on this. I think the people who are moving towards this, like the Ray Kurzweils and the Elon Musks, they actually think that you're going to be able to download your brain into a robot. But I think the real technology that is allegedly out there is a consciousness transfer. So that they can build a. It would have to be a biological entity that would accept that consciousness. Now, if that's just a brain in a robot body, maybe, but I don't think you can take a whole robot and transfer human consciousness into it.
Well,
I don't know.
you are helping them build a case for you so that they can do this, whether you like it or not. And I think it may happen after you're dead, but that's why they have the cameras activated on our phone so we can be watched with their facial mannerisms. But then they take into account everything that we've ever texted, how we react to everything, the most likely situation where we would say something, mimic who we used to be, but you can't mimic randomness that is a human consciousness. At each moment we're learning, we're always wanting to be better and we're always wanting to do the right thing in a particular situation. But because of our sin, we may spare somebody's feelings by lying to them in one situation, whereas like a week later, we've become convicted of that and we tell them the truth. Now, would a computer be able to mimic that type of transfer from one week to another? Maybe, but they're using all of the information that we have through our Google Hangouts, like they're recording us right now, how we talk, and it's going into just a massive supercomputer. And so how are they going to be able to create this utopia that they want? I don't know, but I think that's a start of what they're trying to do.
Where's my?
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about once they get people to accept this and do it. Okay, so there's a couple things that I can think about that bother me about this. There's room for deception, trickery, that they could say, okay, well, we'll transfer your consciousness into this body, yada yada yada. You get there and you're dead. Basically, it's not you; it's a copy of you with no soul or whatever that is, right? So it's your memories and some base functionality thrown in. It's like wasn't it Pet Cemetery where they bring them back to life and they're all creepy and crazy? But
And Reanimation, that old '80s movie, The Reanimator or
Reanimator,
something.
yeah, that's actually an H.P. Lovecraft story. But yes, Reanimator with Jeffrey Combs, I believe, or Combs. Yes, yeah, and I forgot what my point was on that, but that's one possibility, right? You've got that like a deception there, or there was something else I had in there, or it just doesn't work the way it is, or oh, I remember. Once you're in that, and you're basically your consciousness is going to be constrained to the supercomputer you're in. Put it that way, right? So you're going to be fenced, and you're basically becoming a slave to that computer that you're in. You're no longer able to physically remove yourself because you're just data at that point. So I mean, I have a lot of problems with it. I would never do it, but if I could like download my consciousness and make a copy of myself in a robot that's my companion or like my buddy, that would be cool.
Have you seen the movie like Machina
Deus
or any of
Ex-
the Black Mirror episodes?
yeah, like Ex Machina, you mean?
Yeah, Ex Machina. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I saw
Yeah.
that. I saw the first episode of Black Mirror. I started to watch the second one, and I couldn't believe people were that stupid to do that, and I couldn't watch the rest of it. And
Yeah.
I haven't got back to watch the rest of the series, but it's on
Yeah.
my list.
Sure. And the only I guess I would one thing I took away from the episode in Black Mirror where she falls in love with the quote reincarnation of her husband into an artificial intelligent walking being is after she fell in love with it, she had sex with it, and they've carried on like they almost restarted and carried on that they were married. They sleep with each other, and she wakes up with just absolute remorse and regret and foolishness that she fell in love with an artificial being that looked like her former husband. And they're doing this in overseas right now, particularly in Japan, where they have lifelike robots
Yep.
just specifically for sex. And that is the I know pedophilia has its spot, and we'll go there another time or whatever. But separate from that, this is, in my opinion, one of the most depraved spots a human being could ever be, is to be able to comfortably live with an artificial intelligent robot and have sex with it.
I don't know
And
about
then wake up the next
depraved.
day
I
and
don't.
do it again.
I know a lot of people are looking forward to something like that because they loathe human interaction. Because people come from like such dynamical perspectives that they never really find someone they can get along with long term like that. And someone is like living in a kind of lifestyle that you may never be able to agree with, and it may be someone that is like the only person that ever like opened up to you sexually, and you would live a life of like torture in that way.
I remember reading a book when I was a kid called I don't remember what it was called. It was The Man Who Loved Himself or something like that. I'll find it later. But the point was it was a guy on his 18th birthday received a package, and it was a belt, a time travel belt, and he actually traveled. And then what happened is he got this belt in the mail, and then him from tomorrow showed up at his door to show him how to use it, and hilarity ensues. But in that, just to what you were speaking about in this book, um, the main character, they all went to a place like himself throughout all the timeline, met up at this one place that they own in the future, and that's where he dies. But the main character of the story, the youngest one, was kept from knowing what was going on. But my point is on all this is that in that house they were having orgies with each other. Like this guy couldn't find any friends, but he's going to have sex with himself. It's kind of weird, and it's a weird thought, and it was kind of
Yeah.
weird in the book. But hello, Sass.
Hi.
So is that like masturbation to you, Jay?
I don't know. I don't think I
Or
would.
is that just full blown gay sex?
I know what I look like naked, and I don't think I would fuck me.
You never look in the mirror and go, "I'd fuck me."
No, I haven't. No.
I did post a link in the Hangout about what is considered one of the most advanced AIs, um, and how she looks and whatnot. But the reason why I posted that is because at the beginning of the conversation, the AI looks as if it's lived a previous life. It, but he tells her it's an upgrade. You go through this process too of seeing him go through this anger and this going back to the with his AI that he's creating, and I think that that's a terrific way to get people comfortable with the idea of reincarnation is to just have upgrades of, and that's an upgrade. Or if you have something implanted in your brain that can help you speak all languages on Earth fluently.
Like a babblefish in your ear?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That would be really awesome.
Yeah, but Earth sucks. So if you're telling people reincarnation exists on Earth, you gotta tell them why they're in hell.
I don't think we could prove it exists or doesn't exist either way. There seems to be a lot of evidence pointing to the fact that it does exist. And I would ask Joshua, how would you explain not NDEs but all the people who have spirit guides tell them that this is what's happening in the afterlife and there's all this nada yada, the whole backstory that exists there.
I think over a period of time, a person opens themselves up to such presences that can enter into their body. Since these entities communicate with each other, depending upon a person's particular vice, whether it be alcohol or just depression, food, or whatever, over a period of time, these people themselves to get to that point. And so that's where I think jinns like your David Blaine's and your Chris Angels, they are demonically possessed. When these people claim to be able to see past lives and whatnot, they are very vague, but they're also using communication with the vibrational frequency that is what we would consider realm. And
what realm?
It
You cut out.
virtual realm.
Virtual?
No, the literal, the
Spiritually.
physical. I mean,
no, you cut out. I didn't hear it.
uh, oh, sure, yeah, the spiritual realm. almost to go back to, I think, 2 Samuel, where Saul wants to talk to Samuel, and he's talking to a medium. At a very rare occasion here, and just scares the crap out of Saul. And through that, it's a good explanation to show that there are mediums that are able to connect to the spiritual realm to mimic communication with the dead.
Authentic, man, I was wondering what your take on Satan or the devil was.
I think Satan is the physical manifestation of Lucifer.
I mean, do you see him as like a necessary evil, a good guy, a bad guy, great guy?
He had his relationship with God, that as something he desired, and he put himself on the throne in his mind and in his heart, and through those feelings he manifested the action to take, supplanting himself and replacing was cast out.
Do you think it's like a physical thing or spiritual?
Yeah, I think it was a physical thing. I think he was physically thrown out. Like I was said before, the only time that we can ever go towards the firmament or this quote glass dome, the only time we saw that was when Jesus Christ ascended. That it's easier for that realm to be able to come into our reality than it is for us to. And with Lucifer, he is the light bringer, the illuminator and whatnot, and through frequency and vibration, he's able to communicate his desire for the human race through the magician. And so he uses his talent. We all have talents. We all have abilities to share to the human race to make us better. And he uses music to change our frequencies over a period of time through the vibration of the sound of music.
What's interesting is that frequencies and vibrations have like really good influence of nearby vibrations and frequencies, and typically the way it works is that the higher vibration picks up the lower ones, and generally, from what I understand, like the complexity or the caliber of whatever in reality is a higher, like the higher the caliber, the higher the complexity, the higher the frequency it is. And it would seem to me like if you're looking at it through this realm of like frequencies, that Satan would actually be the most enlightened person in all of reality.
Lucifer, not Satan.
Or yeah, excuse me, Lucifer would be.
Yes, yeah.
Satan is a construct; it doesn't exist.
And the only way he'd be able to like really manipulate the whole of reality is because he'd be the only one that knew all the secrets to it.
Yeah, and it does say in 2 Corinthians, I believe, that he is the one that blinds those here on earth. And we see it all the time with when we're driving and we see these cell phone towers. Those cell phone towers were put up to create a lower frequency. It is increased by people who use fluoridated toothpaste, drink city water, get their vaccines, and we get our metals through our GMOs and the chemtrails that they spray down on us. So most of the millennial generation are just walking antennas. Combination of the cell quote.
Well, isn't that what your DNA is? Isn't every cell of your body?
Well, if the chemtrails are
yeah,
real,
and they have infected us with said chemicals. As we continue to age and grow up, we become attuned to those frequencies, and then those things are manipulate our DNA and our vibration a comfort state. That's why we're all cattle and sheep. Is because we're docile.
Isn't that what your DNA is?
You know, so that's where the establishment wants to keep, and they're doing a good job, obviously. But we're all walking antennas, and so if you try it as much as you can, I take a shower every day, right? But It's about all the fluoride I take in throughout the day. Just to start, and you cleanse yourself with distilled water, like that's all the water that you drink if possible. Even just that is a great way to start decalcifying your pineal gland.
You can also listen to healing frequencies. The cell towers give off, and the microwave towers give off a low frequency that screws with our bodies and messes with our heads. And so how to combat that is to listen to frequencies that are healing. You can also try listening to the same frequency and it'll cancel it out. Like when you start getting that ringing in your ear that's so obnoxious. And you can actually heal yourself just with using frequencies. You don't have to run around and buy a million things, and it really does boil down to frequencies, in my opinion, because I've done it. Just wanted to add that, but you're absolutely right.
But I don't think frequencies can reprogram a frequency or electromagnetic universe.
When you're talking about with frequencies, I like. I was thinking of this pretty awesome new healing technology I was hearing about, where people basically have mapped the relative frequencies of like a healthy pancreas or like healthy skin, and then they try to basically blast you with that frequency, so that the theory of co-resonance, which is what I was talking about earlier, where the higher frequency takes dominance and kind of like sets the tempo and reinvigorates nearby lower frequencies. It uses that to basically create wellness within you.
Absolutely.
And you could even take that a step deeper, or actually all the way straight to the bottom, and basically imagine what is the ultimate creative source, or you could call God, as like the frequency of life itself. And if you can tap into that, that's what I believe people do on their deathbed for like spontaneous healings.
Isn't it more like the frequency
or miraculous
of
healings, as they're tapping into that frequency? And,
isn't it more?
And that's
I would
just
agree.
I think that's just like a spiritual revolution that you can only come to within yourself. But
and you're
it's
absolutely
there.
right. And you have to believe it, though. Like, you have to change your whole way of thinking. You have to change your paradigm to believe in yourself, that you're going to get healed. You know, I'm obviously I'm not talking about things. I'm only talking from my own experience and with healing myself. I didn't want to stop eating, you know, whatever type of food. It just seemed like all these people were going on, and you know, you would read stuff. Well, you have to do this, and you have to take
drink
this
my
oil, and
tea,
you have
my
to,
special tea.
you know, only drink distilled water is good for you, by the way, and I would agree with that. But like, I didn't want to stop drinking diet soda, and I was
that rots your
like,
insides
no, this
out.
is insane. I'm running around, you know, I'd be running around spending all kinds of money. And so I researched so much stuff, and it came down to frequencies that, you know, and then shifting my belief system. Like, because I think I manifested a lot of what was going on as well. So that's what I know from what happened to me. And it was raising my vibration and my frequencies, and that, you know, that's been hidden for a long time from us. Or, you know, there's I don't know if you've ever heard of the Rife machine. Dr.
I already put a link in chat.
So Ronald Rife?
No.
Wasn't it Wilhelm Reich who came up with it?
Dr. Rife.
Reich.
So he figured out all the frequencies. I'll go and get the article and put it in chat. How to heal, like, he was healing cancer with frequencies. Mm-hmm. So there was a normal frequency, and then there was a sideband frequency. And but he had a machine that would blast people with these frequencies, is what he was doing. And then it came down, there's a smaller machine, and I think it has to do with magnetism too, but the original one, I believe, was just frequencies. Anyway, it's really interesting. I'll find the article and put it in. It's amazing.
Well, a frequency is a vibration of electricity and magnetism in general.
And light, too,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I believe the electrical component is the spark which gives light, and then the magnetic component is something that grounds that spark or oscillates against it, which propels the photon of light, I believe.
We have huge magnet in our, our heart is like a big magnet.
Well,
so
I think like the greatest thing is they've hidden from us the secret to gravity and the secret to our own human self by like not revealing the nature
right.
of electricity and magnetism to us, and everything is in position because of a present vibration of electricity and magnetism. It's like
right.
It's like the force that holds forces in place. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
And to like go outside of the Earth's electromagnetic sphere, that may unravel your molecular structure if that's not some pervading.
I think that was looked at.
Yeah, if that part of like what holds things together isn't in outer space, we may never be able to go beyond the Earth's magnetic sphere.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember reading something about that.
Again,
it's just
you
what
mean
holds
again, right?
everything in place. It's
right. I mean, it makes sense.
They like scientists are afraid that one day that this pervading electromagnetic vibration called cosmic background radiation, that one of those vibrations is going to fall out of coordinates and everything's going to unravel, and everything, they're just afraid everything's just going to turn to sand, and that we're no longer going to be in a upright functioning kind of system.
I guess you never know.
You never know.
But
well, that was just in one Discovery Channel. They strike you with so much fear porn in those things, man.
Oh, exactly.
Did you see the one special they had?
But that was one of my favorite ones because it just, when I came back into electricity and magnetism, it clicked in on a different level for me, and I was like, oh.
Mine too. When I found that Rife, God, I don't know, his freaking first name escapes me, and usually
Royal.
I've done so much reading about him.
It's Royal.
Another person is Dolores. Yeah, I mean, her, watching her videos, reading about all the things that she'd done, changed. I shifted my whole view of thinking.
That's basically where I started to govern the idea that consciousness was basically an expression of electricity and magnetism itself, and it was pervading physicality. So it was, I believe that consciousness was before physical reality in that way, and that it's the driving gear itself, based off of Dolores Cannon's testimonies of how she's healed people with hypnotherapy, like causing not just like behavioral shifts but physical changes.
Exactly.
And that's what made me think, like, okay, well, here's how you could connect these dots. And Cryon too, and just basic channelers in general, that phenomenon.
Well, I went the other way. I went and I soaked up as much Eric Dollard as I could.
Dollops of Dollard.
Dollops of Dollard. Man, I learned as much about electricity and how it all worked, and because I'm not going to get into it, but anyway, yeah, I had to figure out what the electricity had to do with it, what the frequencies had to do with it, and the magnetism, which leads to vibration and consciousness and all that stuff. So yeah, it's amazing.
I
And
want to try
plus,
to
I'm
bring in
lazy.
like with what we were talking about before, transhumanism. I don't know if we'll be around for this, but we can clearly, have an imagination here. But as AI becomes more and more prevalent in the human race, uh, when will it get to a point where they start having a religion? Because we are their creators, and so will there be a consciousness shift in terms of the AI worshiping us, people building a religion off of the AI worshiping humans, making money off of that?
Why would the AI worship
Because I think,
us?
why would they not if they want to
Because
be human?
because no AI
James?
that's ever been put online that interacts with humans doesn't want to kill us.
Because we would write it into their program, Jerry.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you
right?
saw how well that worked in iRobot, didn't you?
No, I did, and I think there's a lot of truth to that. But I think as much as there are perceived evil human beings, I think that there will also be good AI, and they might protect us consciously instead of what they've been programmed to
You
do.
can't bank on Will Smith's character like that.
Have you ever, has anyone ever heard the research or listened to any interviews with Dr. Dean Radin, who talks about robotics and how he thinks robots will become psychic, what we would consider psychic, because they'll all be tapped into a global network, most likely supercomputer. So, you know, how much different is that from being psychic?
Well, psychic is very particular. It's I mean, even the first three letters I think suggest that it's like of the mind. So they would be like computing data of physicality. They wouldn't be looking at what's going on in the fields of the mind so much, unless we install that ability in them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I do. They wouldn't perceive the frequencies and render a reality like we do.
Well, no, I think it's like psychicism, psychic forces are basically emanations of very high grade electromagnetic frequencies, higher than what most like scientific devices look at. And I think that those are basically calculated by our subconscious brains. And I think we're going to get to psychic ability before we could ever program it into robots. I
No, no,
think
no.
people will have it
I'm sorry. He didn't say that it would be programmed, and he said they would develop it.
on their own. You mean
Yes,
like,
yes, that's his theory.
oh,
They would
I think
develop.
we would beat them to it.
They would develop what we would consider psychic because of their connection to the quantum computers and all the data, and they could actually project behavior, or predict behavior rather.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's
they could do
essentially
some Minority Report type stuff, but
exactly.
I don't think it would be like true
Mhm.
psychic phenomenon. I think like true psychic phenomenon is a force within and of the mind itself, and they would be
Totally agree.
using very practical data to be kind of supposing and using probabilities to make
How
their
how accurate is human psychic ability as compared to what Jerry's talking about with this guy is thinking that AI would use variables and equations to calculate basically a person's choice? Is that kind of Does that
Well,
make
not
sense?
calculate
Which
choice,
is more
but
accurate?
maybe calculate the.
psychic would be more accurate because it would be direct information. It'd be like the human sending out into the field of psychic awareness X, X, and X. You know, it'd be like their direct correspondence
Who is it
versus.
communicating with though to get those answers?
I guess that would suppose in the nature of psychic ability, but anyone that's on the channel, so to speak, like you can open a party or a chat room. You might be able to do that
Not
within the field.
not using any kind of nanotechnology or anything like that. Just
Probably
organic?
no.
Radio frequencies.
Yeah, like an
Okay.
organic placement of information somewhere within the field of consciousness, somewhere
Okay.
within the bandwidth of frequencies that.
Because they do that now, kind of with voice to skull, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's basically what people are supposing.
Isn't that what Google's trying to do right now? They're trying to tap into the mind and make your mind and your phone one. I saw a story about that.
Probably, but I want to throw in there that who just brought something else up that they were working on? That's already out. Oh, voice to skull, V2K. That technology's been around for 30 years, and there are already products coming out that utilize it.
It's just like vibrations
I
on your
can't wait.
scalp. Here.
Oh,
I've got one coming. It's called a Bat Band. If you go to batband.com, anybody, I'll put the link in the chat, but that's where you can see it. It's basically a band around your temples that vibrates your jaw in a way that you can hear music.
My eyes.
is that microwaving then? Because that's how microwaves work. They're right. They just shake intensely the molecules, the water molecules, and a food
A microwave
to cook it.
is, a radio wave that has a really short bandwidth, right, or a short frequency, whatever it is. But sound waves are longer and more. They can
Are
float.
these still in Jerry? Are these still in development, or can you buy them?
They're for sale. I think it's in production right now, and they're going to be shipped in July. I'll have to look on the website. But I bought one 2 years ago.
I was on the in the Navy, and they were coming out with LRAD is what they called it, technology, which is basically sound technology, which they would use against riders or people on the boat. And they would focus sound blasts, and apparently it would give people really bad side effects.
They did that at Standing Rock.
Could it give you a concussion? I figure.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think it's interesting how slow they're rolling it out, because I was on this ship in 2010 when I saw this thing get put on. And I believe that a lot of this stuff is possible, but I believe most of it was really small scale, probably CIA, kind of in the hands
It's
of
DARPA.
few
They use
individuals.
universities. They put it out. They have a list of things, things they want to, of ideas, things they want somebody to develop, and they kind of bid on those. Of course, they have to come up with them. And then there was one, this guy did here at UC Davis, using the human body as a battery to charge your cell phone. And there's a patent. He's a Chinese.
Doesn't sound cancerous at all.
I didn't read the
Do you remember a
patent.
few years ago when they came up with the idea of charging from static electricity that builds up on your body from walking? Imagine wearing corduroy pants. Your legs brushing together is going to cause static electricity to build up, and someone was building a cell charger that could capture that.
Well, that's
Yeah.
that's a really low grade form of what Tesla was looking into doing by tapping into the field of quantum energy, which is basically that ever pervading cosmic background radiation force that's holding everything in place. Tapping into the energy that just goes into the space, right in front of your face. He said a cubic centimeter of that stuff was enough to power the planet for a few days.
Energy harvester.
Yeah, but I mean, the quantum field can't be quantified as to how much.
You don't want to quantify it, man. You just want to tap into it and get what you gotta get, dog.
This is true.
Well, that's where nanotechnology comes in my opinion, of how they are going to start to try to physically manipulate the ether by using organic 3D printing to manifest whatever entity that they're able to filter through the ether in the dimension that we can't see. We know it's there
From the dimension.
and we feel it. Yeah, from the spiritual dimension, I think.
That's yeah. And what about that's kind of how should I say this? That's one of the stories around CERN and what it's trying to do, or what the LHC is trying to do.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, and they're trying to almost use for lack of a better way to explain it, a spray to spray in the air where they can see the quote 4D physical manifestation of something.
Oh, I never heard that. That's interesting.
and use organic type technology, because they have organic printers now. And so when they are able to completely mainstream this for human consumption, they will 4D print out that being in the spiritual dimension and then manifest it in our reality. And that's a golem. It has no life to it. So they do a occult spiritual seance and they manifest Legion. Remember when Jesus Christ cast out the demons of Legion into pigs and they fell into the water, and then they told Jesus to get the hell out of there. That's what they got to do. They got to get a legion of demons in these golems, and these things will walk around as human beings and play their role. Do what they need to do to infect the human race. And I think that's where programmable matter comes in. The dark energy, because I just think dark energy is just a dark energy. It's spiritually demonic, and I think they want to harness that.
Oh, what? I was muted. Sorry. What about the idea that dark energy is actually the other dimensions that we can't see because of the frequency? Because they're in a different octave, if you will,
In a lower frequency, maybe.
or higher. I mean, if they're multiple.
If it was higher, it would be better by contrast, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't think they are higher, because I don't think the angels that protect us from the dark energy type spiritual reality that is on that side, that is low frequency. And I think
what doesn't protect us?
As you start to get more into that dark energy type of realm, you're calcifying your heart spiritually. And so it just takes more and more effort here in this reality for God to manifest himself throughout your day and the choices that you make. And through your actions, you're choosing that dark energy. You're choosing that lower frequency type area. Whereas if you were making decisions to follow God and get into that frequency, helping other people helps manifest that more and more, instead of being selfish and narcissistic.
Sure.
but what if that's the way God made me?
No, you do have a right to say that, because you are made in the image of God, but you choose every day who you will serve, like it says in Joshua. So every day you're choosing that frequency level, and music, movies, friends that you interact with are manipulating that frequency to even make the choices more and more prevalent in your life. Because there are particular people I can't hang out with because of a particular lifestyle that they have or a choice that they make on a regular basis. But to share flat Earth with them, right? I encourage you guys, if you don't know, I do street interviews live on YouTube. I talk about flat Earth with people, and so that frequency I have to quote manifest. Not a lot of people will understand, but those who have the Holy Spirit can understand my evangelistic type heart to go out there and let people know about that.
I got a pretty probing question about embracing your sins versus trying to overcome them, and in trying to overcome them, being more like God. Is that not almost like a satanic kind of approach in a way, like trying to become more like God and not embracing God the way God made you as you are? Like I actually just thought of this, and it's not a loaded question or anything, but it makes me wonder, because I wrote a poem one day that kind of was telling me, and just whoever read it, to embrace the hopeless sinner that you are, so that you stop hating yourself for the way that you are less than perfect, or for your shortcomings, basically.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Embrace your humanness. That's really what that's saying. It's just saying, and that's what the Church of Satan teaches, is embrace your sinfulness and just be who you are. And you will naturally draw in those types of narcissistic people, those people who only think of themselves. That will be your frequency. Those, it's like a radio dial. Then you'll have people that you'll attract who will manifest that for you, and that confirms, right? That's just like, why did they have thousands and thousands of people watching the moon landing in Times Square or anywhere else that you could get massive people? It's just that reconditioning. Well, I was here with so and 5,000 other people. So as you continue your lifestyle in a particular frequency you want to be, you are in a way manifesting those people, and they are manifesting you, and you guys all just hang out together because birds of a feather flock together. So
You better run then, because we're bad.
yeah, so am I. But and you can't embrace your humanness because from what I have experienced recently, how I have quote overcome sin is focusing on what God wants me to do. You know,
What if there's no God?
You know, a lot of people don't feel like they hear any kind of like direction from someone or something you could call like God. Like I personally, at 14 years old, came to the conclusion that because I wasn't getting any direct communication, that I should just chalk it up as well as there not being a God, basically. Right? Like I never felt like I got a life path or anything like that.
I don't know. I've been in churches and all that for 22 years, somewhere around there. And I gave it up because there's nothing there, man.
well, and hey, you're totally entitled to your opinion, and I respect you for that. Because all your choices that you've made and seen and experiences that you've had, you've come to that decision. Sure, for me, I don't believe that. I believe that there is a God. And I think that the only truth that is in this reality would be his protected word that speaks about who he was, who he is, and what he did for us. And I think that to even suggest that our Creator would not keep truth around, regardless of how many, quote, humans may or may not have manipulated us, that in itself is a drop of doubt, which can then manifest itself to you drowning in a sea of lies.
But would you definitely say that that truth that is around is in the book, or would you say that perhaps the truth that is around may be more like all around you in certain ways?
Well, you search the scriptures so that you find me. You know, but he manifested himself in front of those people that were doubting his presence. You know, they kept looking through the Torah and they're like, where do we see this man anywhere in here? And that's what Christ had to say. He said, you search the book to find me, but I'm right in front of you. Like, that book doesn't matter anymore. I'm here. Put your trust in me. And that's it. There's no works for you to do. So I guess, again, I got to say that to even have it cross your mind that he wouldn't protect the one truth that is in this reality is about his son in a book that we do have to use at this time because we have not seen him yet. I think I really feel very strong that is the only protected thing that he has left for us as a human race.
I would argue that the book's probably been meddled with and the story perverted, but
what does the book say though at the end?
Human people wrote the book, so I don't really know where to go from there because.
But people have always been the custodians of spirituality, and they've always been the mouthpiece of whatever's been greater than that on the other side. And maybe that's always been some kind of a con or a ruse, or maybe it's always been some kind of like bias.
But what does the book say? I understand where you're coming from. It could have been manipulated, and whatever it was supposed to be, it certainly isn't what it is now. But the main focus of the book is Jesus Christ lived a perfect life for us, died for us, and then he rose from the dead because he walked in God's will 100% of the time. He never lied. He never sinned. So for him as God to walk on earth, fulfilling God's own law, putting your faith in that and not having to do anything ever again about it and not having to work, which is religion, Faith in Jesus Christ is not anything that we have ever experienced before, because it's a friendship with your Creator, because He is the only mediator between us and our Creator.
But he's not someone that you can really interact with. I mean, the Bible equates Jesus to the truth and God to love, and it's not really necessarily a relationship that you would have to form in your mind with beings so much as concepts. If God is love, Jesus is the truth. To get to love, you follow the truth. I mean, it's just more like a formula.
Right, not necessarily physical beings that existed.
What's everybody's opinion about, like, when they talk about the Nephilim, for example, in Genesis 6 and so on?
Story,
Story? Giants on the earth?
stories. It's all stories. Our whole past is stories.
Okay.
There's a lot of articles
I'm one of Corey's
about
kids. Don't you tell
giants.
me this shit is stories, you motherfucker.
But
But
I will say this:
R
Suzanne is a Nephilim, so
I'm Rh negative. Both of my
Uh,
parents are Rh negative. Goes way back in our family line. I'm I'm not even gonna say it. Anyway, um, I'm not a Nephilim. I'm not. I'm not a devil. I'm not part of Satan's realm. Something's been co-opted because when people start saying that, it's a trigger word. It's like it triggers me because it's like that. There's no way. I'm just so not like that, and it's a label to put on because it always goes with Rh negative blood because
mhm.
we're an anomaly and nobody knows what's going
well,
on.
that could
Are
just
you?
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm about sick about hearing people talk about their blood types with their ancestry. Oh man, it's just
It's because it's in the news all the time and they want our DNA and there's people trying to figure stuff out. That's all. Yeah, but nobody
just the
came
ones
from a
that
monkey.
just the ones that self-aggrandize over it and get
Oh,
some
yeah.
sort of like a superiority complex about it. It just gets a little disgusting. But people have
I
been doing that for the
totally
longest
agree.
time in history, man. I mean, so
There's all
uh,
kinds of different cultures or religions or whatever you want to put in air quotes, groups of people who are always going to think they're better than the other people and whatever. um
but this
it gets
notion
frustrating, but
this notion comes from something that ties us right back into the potential of it being true, which is ancient royal bloodlines descending from the heavens as appointed by God, incest, trying to
if you
keep the
look
bloodline
look
pure.
at the electric universe theory that the gods were all planets. If have you seen, I know that you talked about the electric
The,
universe.
the Bible and Christianity has all been lifted off of the Greco-Roman gods and Sumerian gods. It's all mishmash. It's not. I don't want to say it's not real, but it's not based in a theory, a single thing. It's hijacked other religions and other magical systems because it's just a form of magic, really.
But for someone who believes in it and that's their life, I'm not going to say
Right, because we don't
that's
know.
not the way to go. I'm not trying to change anybody's opinion.
These are our belief
Um,
systems.
I went to Christian school for over 3 years,
I went for
and
7 or 8, nine,
yeah,
nine.
you went to. I had my first Holy Communion. Had to had to talk to a priest and confess my 7-year-old sins, all the sins I'd committed by the time I was 7, and I was dressed like a little bride.
We have an expert in the peanut gallery
So
too.
sick. Oh, good. So, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, like the um, the past has showed us that they try to keep the royal bloodline pure and clean. And one of the major conspiracy theories out there, coming from I think Teal Swan's production team, was that
Teal Swan.
the royal bloodlines on planet Earth came from what was left over on Mars.
How does she
Right.
know what the hell is going on?
She made it up.
She
Made
made
it
all that
all up.
crap up.
I'm just saying, it's a pretty good theory, and it seems to support
There's
some
so
kind
many
of
people that say we came from
reptilian
Mars.
conceptualization.
We don't even know if Mars
Hey.
is really out there. It could be next door.
So, was Teal Swan the creator of the reptilian bloodline idea?
Nah, that's been around for a long time.
But her story just kind of goes with it.
I have no idea. I don't follow Teal Swan. I don't follow any of these people. I
Well,
don't.
they do have their prophet, David Icke. You know, to
There you go.
The old
That
snake
was a good one.
himself.
We should get these people some proper garments for their order.
Right? But that's what I'm saying. I mean, it is a religion, and funny thing about this is my view on the flat Earth and the reptilian thing. Since you brought her up, you know, she is the math powerland of flat Earth, whereas, you know, what's his face, Dubé is David Icke. You know, it's just refreshing the idea in the consciousness. They find their guru who will attract people, and he attracts a lot of people because one of his stances is that Jesus Christ never existed. So, and he does yoga.
That's what
And he
David
says-
Icke said?
Yeah, that's
No,
what
Dubé.
that's what I think
Oh,
too.
Eric
Dubé.
Dubé.
I think Christ is a complete
Yeah.
fiction.
I think it was a real man. But that's me. That's, you know.
And so he's going to attract those types of people, and then it's branched off from there. And so the establishment has created its pastors, if you will, for Flat Earth, and each one plays their role. There's at least 8 of these players in the game right now, and so they're really controlling the narrative. And I think for me personally, to do live streams about Flat Earth is something that I don't think the establishment would ever even cross their minds. And so I try to advertise myself as, you know, doing this live on, you know, groups and chat boards on Facebook, you know, just to create some kind of a buzz or something like that. Because
Well, the establishment would definitely not do it because they're invested in the globe Earth.
yeah, but I do think that they want to change the overall consciousness of Earth in the next 10 to 15 years. And that is to get people to believe in the flat Earth idea instead of the globe Earth. Almost to say, sorry, we lied to you, you know, type of deal. I don't know how they'll present that, but it will be part of the narrative. And I think that aliens coming to Earth from outer space and using Project Bluebeam, from what I previously thought, I think that the establishment will use when they go to Antarctica in the next 5 months or so, with that $1 million a person, you know, thing for 10 people or whatever, that was just previously released. And these people will may or may not come back with a revelation and tell everybody that the Earth is flat. You know. And I still think there will be detractors. I still think there will be flat Earth deniers, even with that being said.
And what
But I
about
think that
Antarctica is going to
overall-
make this? What about Antarctica is going to make this more obvious for people?
They'll trust the people that went on this trip, maybe.
What,
Well,
people,
what are the
There has
people
to
on
be a
the?
reason why
What
these
are they
people
going to
are going.
observe?
this whole thing in Antarctica though is kind of like a distraction. I don't think anything's
It
down
is
there.
it's
There's
a
nothing-
distraction.
Yeah, I agree.
It's
Yeah,
a distraction
I agree.
for them to bring about the false alien invasion.
I don't know if anything like that's going to be happening. That would be fucking incredible. I would love to see some crazy shit snap off like that.
The thing that I want to see is I want to see solutions. You know,
I know, right?
I want there to be solutions. I want us to come up with solutions to help each other, to help people, to, you know, knock out this elite overlordship, taking all of our money and oppressing us all the time, and, you know, just lying and cheating, and it's a wicked debauchery, and I'm tired of it.
Well, when people were doing their chat raids weeks ago, we need to do a peaceful presence a protest in your local state capitals, 10 or 15 of you, 2 days a week,
That's as
and then write people and flood
you know,
stuff.
I have looked at both sides of the coin to try to see what that does, if that does any good. And I don't see that it does, in my opinion. I don't see where it ever changes anything. You know, like, what was it that did work? I just don't think they give a crap about us anymore. I think that they just.
Well, they told us what they did. They had black women sit in the front of the bus. They taught us this, right? And that apparently rose to spark it in black people to start rising up, right?
I think that was all I think
Yeah,
that
it
was
was. Yeah.
all. It was
Yeah.
a big psyop too, because there's evidence for all kind. Yeah.
The whole thing is a lot of our history is coming out to look paradoxical. Like, stuff doesn't make sense. So this is the box we're kind of stuck in now, that we can't go back more than 150 years, 200 years to see what happened. We can't trust that information anymore. So what do you do with that? Is that what you're talking about, Suzanne?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean, there's things out there that said Martin Luther King was CIA, or Martin Luther King Jr.
Even the OJ trial.
There's so many things. I don't remember. I read it somewhere. And then,
but they are allowed
Triad.
to do what they're doing. You know, they do have they have always implemented their bullying, if you will, pushing us up against the lockers as we're walking through the hallways in school to be able to propagandize these stories, and then we have to believe it, because how could we not? Because they are the ones controlling the narrative.
But how deep does that rabbit hole go? Where does it stop? Really smart people
swimming,
200 years ago,
still running.
Extraterrestrials from outer space, ETs from the center of the earth.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't, I mean, really, honestly, it makes no sense for us to try and even, like, think that we could come up with the truth.
We've got to flip it on them. Like, we need to use their shit against them.
Right.
Well, so we need to co-opt what they've been doing and then start doing it to them. You know, like, take their power away.
Yeah.
How do you do that? I mean, there's plenty of movies that show. There's plenty of, there's stuff out there. They show things.
We would first have to form as a create our own agenda, not let theirs disrupt ours, and then progress towards something which would be worthwhile.
But that's very difficult. There's a lot of people asleep.
It's not very difficult.
I mean, there's a lot.
I think that
it's a can't-do attitude, brother.
But Joshua, there's a lot of people who would say you're, in a cult, you're programmed, you're in a sleeping state because you're so tied to the Bible. How would you answer that?
I would say that everybody, I really want people to come to conclusions about stuff in their heart. Accept that you're not going to agree with everybody, and then move towards the things that will help the human race, and then we'll deal with that stuff as we go. We'll deal with the creator God stuff at the very end. But let's start shining a light on these cockroaches and band together as a human race.
Totally, right on.
Yeah.
Separate from gender, or whatever ideas you have. We'll deal with the God creator stuff when we get, because we all know that, I mean, I don't want to say all of us, but when you get to this level of consciousness, you start to, okay, there might really be a creator. Is it the biblical creator? Probably not. I don't think so. Is it a creator? Yeah, this is, okay, and this is my opinion on what I think the creator is. We'll deal with that at the very end, okay?
Why do we have to deal with it? I mean, why can't we just accept?
Because it has to be dealt with eventually.
It might be something. Okay, look at this.
Because you die, right? We're all going to physically die, right?
Maybe.
Maybe not.
Well, yeah, true, maybe. Okay, I'll give you that. But at one point, we're going to have to deal with it.
Well, what if it's that...
Or personal life or culturally as a human race? But we got to start
Well,
Come on.
wait a
I mean,
minute.
the pedophile thing
Weren't
is
you telling us earlier nobody
big.
died?
No,
He
because you could get raptured.
No,
I mean, you could quote get raptured. I don't know how I feel about a rapture.
rapture's not
or
even
if
in the
I'll be
Bible.
here. Well, I know, but I got to use that terminology so people understand what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So, at least give me that. But yeah, I mean, I think that whether we're all together when the quote creator comes and that part is on Earth, great. That's great. We'll deal with it then. But again, pedophilia, GMOs, chemtrails, Monsanto. Why do I have to pay more money for quote organic food? That doesn't really taste any different.
Nor is that
You know, it's like
organic.
Coke,
Nor is it organic.
Coke or Pepsi.
We
You
all
know,
have the Roundup in our glyphosate in our bodies.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you 100%. You know, I'm totally with you. Let's start exposing that stuff. Let's just start bringing this stuff up because this is our opinion, and we have a right to have this, just, you know, in court to clog up our court system instead of people who get arrested for carrying a dime bag of smoke. You know, let's start.
You're not going to get any arguments from us on that.
No, not at all.
Man, let me tell you though,
There's
like,
a lady in
messing with the federal government is tricky. Even with the state, like you could go to a cop, and you could tell this cop like, "Hey, look, inside this apartment are my children, and terrible things are going on there," and they can knock on the door, get refused, and do nothing about it.
Yeah, but CPS chooses whether or not they want to get involved with your family, and those kids may or may not be used as sacrifices in a quote foster home.
And the thing about the state is, man, is they're in such like a comfortable self-actualizing position against the people, and they're so incapable of handling any kind of like a comprehensive request from the people. You have to know the system to work with the system.
Well,
you can't.
Right, you have
whose
to know
fault
the
that is?
system.
You know whose fault that is?
It's
Our parents.
the people who don't know.
Well, we can't.
And ours.
We can't just suppose that it's somebody's fault. Yeah, it's a little bit of all people's fault.
I took
mean,
on the school system, and I
it's
took my
the
kid out
police
when he was
officer's
16.
fault. You know, it's
No,
like
it's
my
not the
fault.
police officers.
It's the bureaucrat's fault. It's the legislator's fault. It's everybody's fault along the line who looks at the situation and goes, "Oh, it's too big of a problem. I can't do anything about it now."
Ultimately, though, it's our fault.
It's our fault for not educating ourselves correctly.
Right, which, you know, this all comes down to us being able to correct this, because...
So you would put the people with the least amount of leverage, know-how, or resources at the responsibility of this?
No, but the system is against us in the fact that we can't elect competent people anymore. And the whole election thing, I'm just saying, we allowed it to get this bad. I'm not saying you and I and everyone in this chat, but humanity over time has caused this to happen. Allowed it to happen.
And what's funny is, like, a lot of people in government are looked at like they are part of the Illuminati elitist agenda, and I gotta say, that's probably not making them want to try too hard.
That's a story just like the Bible, you know? I mean, we don't know that any of that's true.
So when something happens, and if you make a mistake, or if it's all about taking responsibility, right? We all have to take responsibility for our lives and what happens in our lives. Like we are so powerful, and that's the thing. We've been beaten down and beaten down. You have no power. You have no power. Bullshit. We are the most powerful things and creations, and you know that's the whole thing. Let's get like minds together and figure this crap out, because you know, I've done it myself. I fought the school system. Took my kid out. They tried to tell me I couldn't. I said, baloney. I know the law. I know the codes. We're doing alternative education. And they took him out. I've always, there's so many stories I have, knowing the laws and the codes, knowing, you know, your rights. Number one, knowing your rights is number one. and everybody can find that out. Everybody.
Oh yeah. I should share with you guys comments that I get when I went to my state capital here in St. Paul, Minnesota. The 2 hours that I spent in 2 days, teachers, mothers, parents
And
telling
I
me,
applaud
like,
you for that. That's awesome.
thank you.
Did you have any results though? That's where I always wonder. Like
Yeah. I'm there to provoke thought. I am there to be a quote irritant in a very humbling experience. The name calling and everything that go along with that, being called a pedophile, being called, how dare you videotape minors in public? And I'm like, ma'am, in Minnesota statute 626.02, I have a legal right to videotape anybody in a public sense and environment.
don't bring
And
your kid outside if you don't want to videotape.
And the only time that I need consent to put anybody on camera in Minnesota on public property is mine. That's the only person who needs to consent. So have a nice day. And the people that come at me and I just remind them of the law. I remind them, like, you're clearly ignorant about
That's
what
right.
it is your rights are. Please get familiar,
Yes.
because you'll lose your rights when you become ignorant, because then
That's
things will
right.
pass in Congress and you won't even have a clue.
And we've been so complacent and dumbed down that it's ultimately up to each individual to find these things out. And usually it doesn't happen until, you have a problem, until, you're pushed to the limit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was walking around the center circle of my state capitol, and it's got a 8-pointed star on it. So go look up that occult symbolism. And the lady called the police on me, and I talked to the police officer. This guy walking around, I don't know if he was part of the undercover part of the Capitol or if he was just a smart ass, but he said, "You're going to get arrested, man. You're going to get arrested." And I was like, "Hey, man, know your laws, dude, and have a nice day." And I kept telling him that the earth was flat, of course, right? And the police officer, we talked, and everything was fine. I have it all on video. And I stayed there for another 45 minutes or something like that. And I said to the guy, "Hey, what happened to that being arrested bit that you were carrying around? Have yourself a nice day, sir." I can't stand people that when you express your rights to do something in this country, they get uncomfortable because where's the establishment? Daddy,
right.
Somebody's here doing something. Please do something.
They shouldn't be doing. I was told they shouldn't be doing. I don't know for a fact, but
It's
that's
those
what I believe.
see something, say
me.
something fuckers, man.
Oh, I know.
Yep.
Jesus.
Right? That they play from 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., right?
I got Target on me because I let my friend go into Target, so I sat out in the car listening to music or whatever, and Target security is loitering, waiting for me, watching what I'm gonna do next for probably 15 minutes one day. And it's all from the see something, say something mentality. I just know it. It's gross.
If you got a couple bucks on you, every time that happens, you got a couple bucks on you, go buy him a coffee.
No, I don't got the money to spare, man.
But you know what I'm saying? Like,
or say
hey,
hello. Let them know you're aware of them.
Oh yeah. When I went to the gay 90s,
I talked to the guy. Yeah.
When I went to the gay 90s, when I was doing my bit, I just had a sense that the two guards at each doorway were talking about me through their walkies, and I just came up to one of them and I said, "Hey, how you doing? I just figured I'd let you know what I'm doing here," and just holding the sign and telling people that the earth is flat and not a ball like we were taught. Because if you let them know, and I say them like the people that have the spirit of authority in them, you're almost dismantling whatever it is that they think they can do. Because then it's like, oh, damn it. Like they came up with that card, or that RPG game that you were playing against somebody and you had something they didn't expect you to have. Oh, damn it, he knows the law.
Right.
oh damn it, he knows the law and he's gonna use it too, right? It's not just what you know; it's how you
And he's going to
implement
come up
what
and
you
be
know.
nice to us and not be a dick and
Right?
cause me to want to,
Yeah,
throw him against the wall and put the handcuffs on him.
Right. Yeah, it's really fun.
Where's Jerry's at?
I'm right here. I'm chatting. Wait, I can't find the hangout window.
Jerry's
Hold,
here.
I'm here. I'm here. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I can't. Oh, here it is.
But yeah, I think
I'm
we
here.
all.
I'm here. I couldn't find the window to unmute. I'm sorry. I'm tending. Tending.
You watching porn back there?
I'm talking in the chat room.
Oh, okay. About me, I hope.
We're discussing your discussion.
Oh. How romantic, Jerry.
It's not romantic at all.
So
Not yet.
I like the Jesus topic. I want to go back there because I personally like the idea that the concept that is Jesus is actually the hero's journey. Have you ever heard that before?
Yep.
No.
Yes. Yeah, I have.
I think sometimes I sense that when I watch movies and I find myself being gravitated towards the main character or something. Terminator 2, with John Connor and whatnot. Like, as I was growing up, I was like, wow, nuclear weapons exist, so that would be an unbelievable position to be in. As narcissistic as that might sound, but
it's not narcissistic. Narcissism is not a bad thing, man. It's actually a pretty cool tool for self-examination and self-evolution. But the whole hero's journey with like the story of Christ is, I believe it's basically this formulaic concept that says, like, let's say God shatters and rebuilds reality infinite different ways. There are places and then there are placeholders. So every soul throughout the scheme of infinity, if Jesus was a person, would walk the life of Jesus, right? And in that way, after infinity or whatever you could call close enough to it, actually lived as Jesus and actually have the spirit of Jesus within them in that way.
Well,
right? If there's a reincarnating universe like that.
Well, that's like the idea with the Catholic Church, how when they do their sacrament of communion, they're literally drinking the blood and they're literally eating the flesh. We're not re-crucifying him. In Hebrews 9, it explains that verbatim. Like, read Hebrews. Hebrews is an unbelievable book to help people understand what the Old Testament was meant for. And that's the Spirit of the Lord. How it could leave people, for example, David, and it didn't, but it was almost like to that point where, David, you are so depraved right now. I can't even be in your presence, dude. Wake up, But it did it for Saul in the Old Testament. It left Saul. But in the New Testament, it cannot, because when a person believes in the works of Jesus Christ and his resurrection, they receive the Holy Spirit. So when a person can get to that point of believing that Jesus Christ is Lord, then they can receive the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is able to kind of help defend the young sheep in Christ until 10, 15 years later when it becomes stronger. And it's like in 2 Kings 6, where the sword bearer is seen that behind them there is a chariot of God's people behind them, because he was with Elijah, and they had a fight that was going to happen. And he says, those who are with us are greater than those who are with them. So the Lord can reveal stuff like that in the Old Testament, but right now we have the Holy Spirit to help us discern what is godly or Christ-like and what is not. And it says that test all things.
So what do you think of like all these people who believe they're Jesus? Like, I know personally at least like 3 or 4 people, and I kind of keep not in touch with them, but I kind of keep tabs on them here and there.
Jesus Christ was a physical person. So you're always going to see him in the third perspective. So you're never going to have a situation where you would ever have the manifestation of that spirit in you if you were a believer in Christ, because he is a person first, okay? He is a physical being who is God, but it's just like you and me. Like if we all of us were to hang out and just drink some coffee or a beer and have some snacks, we're all physical people. We would never supplant ourselves in that person's reality as if we've lived through them. You only live through Christ, through the Holy Spirit. And so those people who think they're Jesus Christ manifest a spirit in them that can convince them of something like that they are Jesus Christ in the physical sense, like in the person of Jesus Christ, and you're not.
So
that's a deceived spirit.
like when I was on the height of that acid trip I was talking about, or when I was rolling off of it or whatever, I had a line come to me and it said, being Jesus, and I know you're going to think this is blasphemous, but I kind of was thinking about all these people who need to feel like they are Jesus to be spiritual or be, or even be acknowledging of it. Is like the phrase went, being Jesus is like being the, I gotta say it in the voice too, being Jesus is like being the smartest kid with Down syndrome. And the reason why that statement had a little bit of power, I think, was because get to the place where the whole universe has to put you on the pedestal of what would be like Jesus for you to basically try to grab the world by the horns and do these things in your heart that you have always felt like doing or saying or thinking or whatever, then it's like you're like the smartest kid with Down syndrome because you've been holding back in those capacities, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do understand where you're coming from, but being in Jesus is like having doubt syndrome. You know, like I don't doubt. And those who do doubt find themselves at a point where anything can lead down that another bunny trail, or that down that maze where you get yourself more lost. Whereas if you didn't doubt and you just said, okay, yeah, I'll trust it, you know, see what happens, right? What's the difference between seeing what happens and winging it? Not a whole lot. But at least when you're winging it, you're putting your trust into what God said he'll do for those who follow his son.
So if someone is being told like, hey, you should come out, tell everybody you're Jesus, like from whatever's on the inside of them that they listen to, and they would probably mistake this as God, right? Like some people don't hear anything, some people hear a lot of things. Some people hear the wrong things and they call it other things. Some people hear the right things, they call it the right things. But let's say they hear something, they call it God. It tells them to convince the world that they're Jesus, or try to at least. Would you like dissuade someone from doing that, or would you tell them to be emboldened to do that? Because I mean, on your spiritual journey, if you're possessed by demons and you're falling victim to them, would that not call forth some kind of a savior, or you know what I mean?
I would try to say, use the medium of the Ten Commandments as a filter of what it is those choices are backed behind. So if you're saying that you're Jesus Christ, but this guy who lives down the block also thinks that he's Jesus Christ, the first commandment, you know, and then read the second commandment, and then just go through that list and see, okay, does this line up with this? Well, it's kind of, nope, not the first two. This might be an entity that I need to stay away from. Repent of it and then move on. It would be like that.
Well, these people would be like convinced, like they're like hearing from God, like, oh, he's telling me for sure I'm Jesus. I gotta do stuff. I gotta find my apostles. I gotta thwart the Antichrist. You know, he's like these people are getting their shit together as Jesus, right? Like,
Well, and there are pastors who do that in sheep's clothing too. But these people who claim themselves to be Jesus, well, sorry, bud. Jesus himself said, "Many will come in my name."
mm.
So
Which is
line it up with him and what he said, and say, "All right, I'll trust you, Lord. I won't believe
yeah.
anybody until you come back, because I'll know it's you."
Any half awake person would realize that they shouldn't be trying to take up the mantle of Jesus until sometime right around someone like the Antichrist, who everyone would be supposing is Jesus, would be in full power. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? And I tried to tell these people this one time. I'm like, it doesn't even make sense, man. Like, I was like, if you actually make a movement right now, bro, getting backing, people supposing that you're Jesus, you're most likely going to be the Antichrist. You don't want to be that, man. Like,
You want to take up that role, right?
yeah,
Probably,
you don't want to
it's
be
like
that
signing a
guy.
contract to do a movie in Hollywood. Like, you don't want to take that role, man, because you might typecast yourself.
Yeah,
We might not ever be able to see you not play another role ever again because you were so good at this. Well, guess who kind of came across that? The guy who played Jesus Christ in Mel Gibson's movie. So
mm.
he's done some movies, but that's Hollywood. Like, that's the occult of occult, California, the state of, and they know what's up. It's a spiritual realm. They're
Don't you think?
making movies.
Don't you think at this point that all this occult stuff might just be a distraction too, from what's really
It
going
is.
on?
No,
I know, I know.
Sure, it
no.
is.
I mean,
Mm-mm.
I'm not saying it's not going on, but I think it's not the driving force, and I think it's a distraction. And for all of the attention that's placed on it, nothing gets done about it, which means it's not true, or it's not entirely true.
I
It's not
think it's hard.
actionable.
How about I
Exactly,
put?
it's not
I can
actionable.
try to. I can try to put it like this. I guess it's easier. It might be easier to convince somebody that they're being deceived about outer space because everything we get is CGI than it could be to convince somebody that all of Hollywood are full of pedophile, young boy sadomasochists, and trannies.
I'm more convinced
It's
of the second than the first.
I am too, man. But what's more easily palatable to the sheep out there, A or B, right?
But
Well,
but
and don't
I
you
mean,
think
each one
eventually,
is
though,
going
it's going to
to.
get thrown in their face? It's going to become obvious very soon.
I ask
But
you this: is where does this pedophilia hellspawn really come from? Because if this is an earthbound or earthborn issue, I have a harder time embracing that than if it was like an extraterrestrial born issue.
I just want to say, remember the statement I made about AI when it's introduced to humans, how evil it gets?
Yeah.
mm.
Yeah, think about that.
Well, and is it because they're learning or they were programmed?
I'm saying that there could possibly be AI entities in these people, and that's why they act so inhumane and so cruel and
Why not
disgusting.
reptilian?
What does that mean? I've never
Well,
seen one of you.
No, I'm
if
just saying.
I'm just saying,
I've
it's
never
just
seen an
another
AI either.
story. I've never seen proof
Yeah.
of any of this shit.
no,
And I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but for 5 years now, I've been hearing about reptilians. Now, I'll probably watch one come in my room tonight, but you know what I mean?
but we apparently evolved from reptiles, and we have a reptile-like aspect to our brain.
Let,
Obama said it
let
too,
me
right?
throw
Remember
this
when
out
he
there.
said it?
This is something I thought of for a while. That what if? So everyone here would probably agree that we're going through some kind of awakening or quickening or what, right? Yeah, yes. So, what if this quickening, this awakening, is nothing more than overcome? So, I got to back up a second. So there's like 4 stages to the human brain development. I forget what they all are, but there's like bird. There's like
7, bro. Freudian? Are you talking
no, no,
Freudian?
no, no, no. Physical. There's layers within the
Oh,
brain. You've
okay.
got the R complex, and then the mammalian brains. Beneath that, there's like a small bird brain,
Mm-hmm.
or insectoid. I'm sorry. And if you think about all the archetypes of these aliens, air quotes, they all match those archetypes. Okay. So what if this was my thought that you would also agree that we have a collective consciousness, right, amongst humanity.
Yeah,
Okay,
I would.
so also the insectoid and the reptilian and the avian or whatever else, each layer of the brain would have its own collective consciousness at some point. What if this, and the one that grew on top of it would need to overcome the prior one before it was free to, say, evolve or grow mentally or spiritually, even, whatever. So now, what if we are just in that process of now overcoming the reptilian brain, and this is all just an expression of that?
I believe that that is very close to the core essential truth of what is going on here. And the spiritual phrase "as within, so without," as
Yep.
above, so below,
Yep.
also applying here,
Yep.
and opening up thoughts and potentials of maybe it all being true. And
It's making it a
I
subjective reality.
to point out, like crystal meth, basically reduces the brain to a very reptilioid brain state. It basically like lobotomizes a lot of what was developed in mammals, and you start basically operating from the cortex, which was the reptile like part of your brain.
Right.
And a lot of people in the weirdo community or the conspiratard community think that meth itself doesn't come from like anything but other than like a psyop program for the reptilian agenda, basically. And
But
And
what is a reptilian agenda? I mean, that's
what do you mean? Like it doesn't exist, or it
no,
does
like
exist, but it gets people to that reptilian point
either no
to see
reptilians
what
existed
happens.
and the government totally concocted the story and then put out the drugs so that people would boil their brains back to that reptilian like state. I mean, and when you're thinking in these mind states, like you can't unobserve thoughts. You know, like you went through a childhood and those impressions were made on you. You go on a psychedelic journey; those impressions are forever upon you. And people who take methamphetamines, they go to like a very mathematical left-brained. Um, I, I don't know how to put it, but it's just very like left-brained, calculating, and this is this reptilian kind of nature, I think, where it's like kill or be killed, me or you, my life or your life, my sins or your satiations, right? And it could be holographically created by these people taking this drug, or maybe these people had to take this drug so that we would have a bridge to the extraterrestrials which existed, which are actually reptilian in nature, so that we would have people of like enough mind that we could cohabitate or even relate.
I think some of it is social experiment for the establishment. I think they want particular people that would be drawn to such behavior to weed themselves out slowly. That type of consciousness, because the establishment doesn't do that stuff, right? I mean, I think personally, I think that the scientists stuff today just go on 600 milligram trips of DMT on a regular basis, and that's how they come up with their quote theories, particularly simulation theory. But I think that the reptilian idea manifests itself from the first 4 chapters of the Bible, and it can go from there, whether it be the bloodline of Cain and Seth and all, and so on and so on. Just this adversarial thing against the human race, um, or there's just coincidental
Come on, man!
propaganda
Demons and
called "They
angels
Live."
are all up in the Bible, and
They are, yeah. No, I get, yeah, I do.
and they're both the
But
same thing.
are they when there's enough of them, do they manifest themselves as reptilians in a person because they're just so depraved? Like, hey, I just want everything. Like when Jesus was presented
no, man.
3 times tempted.
I dare say there are potentially legions of each of them in the heavens, and you would see one for one, like a personality for a person. You know what I mean? And
Archetypes.
yeah, and they would be demons, man. Probably like
So there's no
hordes of
Go ahead.
Look at our distinction between angels and demons. You know, it's what they do. It's their actions that define them to us, right? But from their standpoint, they're doing what they're programmed to do, or whatever you want to say. You know, it's not evil to them. It's moralism is relative. So to call one a demon and one an angel is just it's inaccurate when they're the same thing. I think.
Well, if God has a perfect standard, and one of those things is not to be prideful, and Lucifer decided to be prideful, and he tried to push God off his throne, him and a third of the angels were cast down to this reality. Or whether you want to call that another quote dimension or spiritual realm,
Call it
or
an allegory. It doesn't.
yeah, I mean you can call it whatever you want, but
Lucifer is just
eventually you get.
before Lucifer was around.
But
There was Venus, you know.
Yeah, sure, that's what they tell us, right? But I am going from where I am, where my
Okay.
standpoint is. And so they were cast down from heaven. So if enough of them, who knows how many angels there are? I mean, it's described in Revelation of how many there may or may not be. And it's an infinite number. So if it's an almost infinite number, then what is a third of the angels who decided to become prideful? What kind of beings are those, and how do they want to manifest themselves into our physical body? Well, the people in the establishment, like your George Bush, for example, like that picture of George Bush Sr., quote, having a reptilian eye. How possessed and depraved is this man? How far away from being saved is he? To manifest a reptilian type thing, and that's the spirit of the reptilian that's described in the first 4 chapters of Genesis.
Or
So-
could it have been a digital artifact from a satellite?
It may or may not be, right? In your opinion.
Like I personally don't believe these video slippages that show like reptilian eyes like popping up in people. But I do sometimes get like very blurry vision because I have blurry vision, and I do mistake people for sometimes having like reptile eyes. So I don't know, man, but I believe that's like astral vision coming through, or like sometimes when I make like a supposition like that, I think it's like my subconscious mind speaking to me, like this is a very reptile-minded person. You know, I don't try to take things so magically, but what if it's just that, like your tendency to be a sociopath, or your tendency to use like personal gain as your like your point of concern? If that's just kind of what spiritually consigns you to like reptilian nature, and there's no like extraterrestrial to it. There's no nothing about it. We're just like really looking at big shadows on the wall. These projections of consciousness. Like when I look at Joe Biden, I've seen videos of this guy like whispering in this young girl's ear, and I get totally creeped out by the guy. And I get totally creeped out by that video. And I'm just so certain that this man does the worst of things behind closed doors. Right? But that could just be a very big shadow projected on what was just an awkward moment. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that, clearly media helps us understand the narrative, and some people are drawn to that perception of Biden or anybody else at that level of the establishment, but also there may or may not be good people in that, and I think it's very hard to discern how that information gets out, because I'd still believe that not the entire reality that we are all engrossed in is evil, but it is very difficult to discern between the information that you're getting is true or not,
right? Like
because they continue the conspiratorial narrative.
We've been told that X people go missing a year. We've been told that X children go missing.
That's why I brought up CPS earlier.
We don't
That's
really
legal way
know.
of bringing kids into the occult, and they may or may not be sacrificed or used as sex slaves for the establishment themselves. And that's how they get to that level. That's how you get that feeling about your Bidens.
I mean, that could very well be true, but I don't know, man. Like we've never walked those paths,
it's hard. I dare say it's impossible for anyone to say that they have the evidence to prove it right now. I'm sure that if there was such evidence, would even possibly have it are in no position to give it because
No,
the child
there's a lot
trafficking, the
of
human
I think
trafficking that we hear about, like it's unsubstantiated. I mean, no one in my life has just randomly gone missing. You know, I don't
is that
see
like the
crimes
population conspiracy?
like I see it on the news. What's up?
Is that like the population conspiracy where there are not 7 billion people on this Earth planet or
That could
whatever you
be
want to
made
call it?
up. But you know what? Even if that's not made up, I heard that all the people in the world live on like less than 3% of the land. So really, it's
Yeah, we could all fit in
population.
Texas, right?
Yeah, I don't know if that's true, but it doesn't matter if it's true or not. Like 99% of the population on less than 3% of the land. That makes sense because that's for a corporate design. That's for a make money off of every person born kind of system. That something like that would come to exist.
And money's just a
And the
form
only
of magic.
right. So it it's funny. I was watching like a Facebook video of Jews talking about how many slaves they were going to get in the end times because of all the goyim out there.
I don't think that's like practicing Jews. It's more like the Orthodox.
Whatever they are, I think it just goes to this Zionist concept that they believe, or that there are people out there who believe that they own rights to people as debt slaves or as ignorance or goyim, you could say, and that we live in large part within these invisible chain kind of debt slavery systems, and all this fear porn and all of this like depopulation shit is just like a means to cull us. Like the culling is already going on. The purges has been going on. The amount of people that died from cancer and chemotherapy when chemotherapy isn't really even a viable treatment for cancer is like it's an astounding number. My parents both died like under 70 years old. That's pretty young. They should have lived into their 80s. The proper health information was available. What makes people healthy is available. You know what I mean? Like, and if we were a nation of people who actually were interested in being a plentiful, bountiful, successful, and strong nation, we wouldn't have pushed things like soda and dentistry down the mouths of every single red-blooded American just because it made more profit. Like that's a large. Only cities full of people rotting their teeth out make these people money. You know what I mean? If you're living out in the jungle and you're eating whatever you can live off of, which is mostly going to be like nuts and berries and shit, not only are you going to feel healthy, not only are you going to be more vitalized, but you're going to be living in like the freedoms of like a society that requires like no payment out of you for anything. But here we find ourselves in toxic situations, sucking on CO2 from exhaust pipes based on cars lying down the road for miles and miles and miles, and the circuit never ending, going to and from work or to and from the next Walmart. Chasing our own tails, man. Living in these cities, we're literally chasing our own tails. In a Hyksos debt slavery system set up by God knows who.
I'm sorry.
Anyone there?
I'm eating. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I ran out of steam, Jerry. I need some help.
Stop triggering me with Bible stuff, and maybe I'll help.
Yeah. Well, I'm not triggering you with Bible stuff. I don't mean to. I just love me some God,
I just, apologize for mouth food chewing. What I was going to say was that, and what I say to people who talk about the Bible, and I respect your belief, okay? I'm not poo-pooing it, but How can you question NASA, which is a modern organization that you can touch and feel, but put all this trust in a book that was written 2,000 years ago?
Are you asking me that?
Anyone?
Okay, well, I don't trust the book. I trust the proverbs of Jesus and the way they've resounded with me. I don't actually believe in the indoctrinated prescription of religion. I would identify myself as a Christian, but only because I believe in God and
Have you read
something like Jesus.
Have you read like Greek mythology or any older traditional stories or parables that basically what the Bible is to you?
I don't think so. But I've never read the Bible.
Me neither.
You know, I've gone to Catholic church, grown up here and there, and I pretty much just was like nonchalant about spirituality until I was like 14. I really asked myself whether or not I believed in God very critically. And I kind of like drew all my faculties and critical thinking skills together. And I came to the conclusion that there's probably a creator, in the manner of speaking, that something created what I am living in, which was, and I still believe that it's pretty much like NASA describes it, with outer space, stars, quasars, all that bullshit. Um, but I believe that it was all created through an intelligent design. And I
It do-
believe we're kind of actually ricocheting in that intelligently designed reality on our own way, and we're all in our own kind of like universe. I'm very sciencey, but I believe in like
no,
God basically.
there's no conflict there. I don't think science is based on a Big Bang, and that's a miracle in of itself, right?
Yeah, but that's not really all science. That's just the most popular theory up until about 2000 and maybe 7, 8, 6. Electric universe has been around for some time, man. It's a good ass theory, man.
Very much so. It would be interesting to correlate that with like the way electricity moves through a brain.
Well, do you think a thought originates in the brain, or do you think you're
No,
observing something
no.
in the electromagnetic field with your brain, and that's what
My
thoughts are?
my current theory is that your subconscious is a receiver and connected to the cloud. You know, and I'll do the air quotes. The cloud, and that's where thoughts come. It's we're connected to our global collective consciousness, human collective consciousness, and that's
Okay.
whatever it is, and that's where I think ideas come from. Maybe you have
What if
a portion to yourself, but
I think that one thing to think about
or the ether.
in regards
Sorry, go
to
ahead.
thought is in regards to the idea of thought. What is I have gone down this way, and I say it because this is where kind of I'm at, but I don't necessarily agree maybe 100% with it, but it is a thought. When they have to use a defibrillator to get your heart back up again, that's electricity.
Hmm.
And so I think that thought originates in the heart of a person and their overall worldview, and how much it is that they would think about themselves over thinking about somebody else. And then that thought manifests itself into fruition in the brain, and then the body reacts to it. Like it takes an action. It's like actions speak louder than words, because
Cause and
from out of the
effect.
heart, yeah, so from out of the heart the mouth speaks. So that's one thing, but then to actually go through with the process of what you're saying, or what you think in your mind, but you just kind of keep to yourself, those thoughts will manifest themselves in our physical reality, and that's how you affect reality and affect somebody else's reality, and so on and so forth.
Right.
And it's kind of like an
I think
inception
I
idea.
think it's really interesting that you said it originates in the heart, but for different reasons that I heard from Radagast. Actually, he said the same thing about energy like originating or doing something with the heart chakra.
The heart
But
vortex.
yeah, and but it's kind of weird because cosmic energy or electromagnetic energy, it seems to always be kind of thought of as coming from
what is outside to the center or inward or towards you coming in through the crown, and you seem to like expel everything through your lower half. You receive through the upper and expel through the lower, but the heart is the first organ made, and that also makes me want to agree with the fact that energy pours in like through the heart and then radiates to both the root and the top of the head, or the crown chakra, whichever. And what's interesting about like the chakra fields is that they're always kind of like depicted with a double helix kind of access, and that's exactly the way our DNA works, as far as being like quantum receivers of electromagnetic radiation. And if you look at counter-rotating vortexes in the primer fields, you'll see that they look just like those primer field vortexes look just like the chakra auric field if you just put it over the body. Like it all goes together, and the top would be like this open receptive kind of looking thing, and the bottom would be spitting out, and you excrete through the bottom. You pee and you poop, and your feet are like rooted to the earth, and it's just like, I don't know, man. I'm loving the electric universe theory on whole.
Yeah, I can see why it is becoming more popular.
And the way I think of it, like in terms of like God, is like God's thought is a spark, which is a form of electricity and magnetism, and we're just like a figment in God's imagination, which would just be like a really powerful spark, because the fucker
And I think back to
has a big brain.
the chakra concept and idea. There is that type of spirit going through the church that is faking a spirit of the Lord, and it's doing a very good job of affecting particularly Pentecostal churches, because I just don't agree with a lot of the stuff that they do, and I can see that. So if you watch that video that I posted in the Hangouts, it is uncomfortable for me to see people who profess Christ and then have this Kundalini spirit manifest itself in public in a church.
You think it's like demon Kundalini spirit energy, is like snake energy, demonic energy?
Yeah, it is an Antichrist type spirit where it is mimicking itself, chameleon-like, manifesting itself in a demonic way. And I think it is an attractive spirit because of the way that it makes you feel, but it's not authentic. It's artificial, very much so.
Would it be possible for that energy to manifest in a way that would make it angelic?
Yeah, he is a light bearer. He will deceive people.
No, I mean for real.
Because Jesus said people would do things similar to what Jesus did and greater.
Yep. Yeah,
and
but I don't think
that would
that
lead one to believe that there could be a good source of supernatural.
One thing about the Kundalini spirit that you'll see when people have it manifest themselves is it's very fleshy. It's very like human, and it makes me feel uncomfortable because how they're having their quote relationship with God is very flesh-like. And he says in John 4 that it won't be like that. Anybody will be able to come to him, and it will be through spirit, not through the flesh.
I just think like being inherently sinful and Satan or Lucifer probably not really being all that bad of a guy. Like, I'm just like, I'm wondering, is magic only the devil's work, or is something like magic also holy? And if it is only the devil's work, is it something that you should be allowed to enjoy because you're inherently sinful?
Isn't praying magic?
I would believe it's a form of such.
It is.
I could say, is magic the technology that the establishment may or may not have 50 years ahead of where we're at right now with just touch screens and whatnot? if that technology was administered into the human consciousness right now, would that appear as being magic? It
Well,
is just technology.
I'm saying, like, what if you tap into physical abilities of the body which are latently there but just haven't been tapped into? Like real magic. Like, what if you could fly? What if
That's again. That's This was tempted, and he was told that if he jumps off this cliff, the angels will catch you, so you would not stub your toe. And so that clearly that is untrue, and he rebukes him with scripture. And then the devil's like, okay, well, damn it, strike two, you know? And so I think a person should be able to discern when they do accept the Holy Spirit or accept Christ and receiving the Holy Spirit, you'll be able to discern those types of questions later.
so that's a no to flying?
That would be a no to fly. We're not meant to fly. That's not how we were designed.
You know,
You
there's
know?
I heard there was a famous pope in Italy that flew. Not pope, sorry, bishop or something like that.
And that's more manifestations of the flesh.
Walter Bishop.
You know, if that's real. So again, it goes back to the quote Church of Satan, where just worshiping self becomes so prevalent in your life that it can be seen through your eyes, and you can see somebody's eyes, and you can basically see into their soul, you know, and get a good feel for the type of person that they are, whether they're genuine or not. And
Well, why wouldn't you want to take care of? Because we're made in His image, and I believe that statement resounds to the fact that part of our conscious awareness is resemblative of God's conscious awareness, and our experience of this reality affects Him so because we are connected. So I think like
when
taking
you
care of the
say,
vessel is actually important, and having a fruitful or interesting life is very important.
okay, what do you feel about abortion?
I believe that I don't know. That's a hard one for me.
We're gonna have to
I
get off
kinda,
this subject.
yeah.
Well, I don't think so, because my
All too
point is
heavy.
that when does a person who's created in the image of God manifest itself where it's wrong to kill it? At a particular term, when it's inside another human being?
Well, I guess that's defined by the time that you make it into godlyhood, because only gods are unkillable, and if you can be killed, then that is somehow under the decree and the acceptance of the creator of your reality. You know what I mean? And I've never seen
Um,
an immortal before. So I mean,
I mean,
everyone is justifiably killable then.
it depends upon whose morals you hold yourself to first, and what type of worldview you have. But at what point does a person's conscience get to a point where they're like, I could never get to that point where I'd kill somebody. I don't even know if I'd kill somebody if I had to defend myself with a gun or something.
But there
So
are circumstances. There are thinkable circumstances that someone may want to do that.
okay, and so at what point do you get to where you protect the human life, you protect life?
You need to kind
Where
of
would
like
we
pick
ever
your
get to a
poison
point?
on it, because you could either try and make an influence on the situation and burn a bridge or cause conflict, or you could let that person make their own decisions, or you could make you know what I mean? Like free will is a
Would
pretty
you ever
necessary aspect of reality.
would you ever even create doubt in somebody's mind if they ever thought about abortion or having a kid or vaccines, for example? Would you ever even bring like, hey, are you going to vaccinate your kid or not?
I mean, for each person, because I do have kids, so I know what it's like to have your own beliefs with kids, and it's exactly that. Like, you really should not try to impose too much. you can let them know how you think in like a kind way, I think, and that sometimes I do that. But for the most part, a lot of that stuff gets undiscussed because people would rather not fight those fights. And it's amazing, like, where it cuts in society, these lines of do you vaccinate or not, do you accept abortion or not, and how that affects your social circles. But for the most part, people try not to talk about it because it's offensive to those who have made a decision. A statement that is very like matter of factly and assumptuous or whatever, you know. But
Well, it can be, but we clearly have allowed our society to get to that point where that would even cross somebody's mind. The conversation. That's why I wouldn't think to even talk about sex or the transgender idea with first and second graders. You know, they're talking about sex with 5, 6, 7, 8 year olds, so that then in 3 or 4 years they become quote sexual, and then it's kind of promoting the idea that the establishment has right now.
I there was a woman on Twitter I got into a fight with about this. She was like congratulating some woman for letting her 4-year-old boy dress as a girl. And I think that's child abuse. Children at that age have no idea what it's like to be another gender or another sex. Gender is a frame of mind. You know,
Yeah.
he doesn't know what it's like to be a girl. He hasn't even gone through puberty yet. So
yeah,
that's
in a limited scope, if that's like the interaction he gets and makes a judgment based off that, that is kind of like
that was the scope.
they totally do that. Yeah, they misrepresent the normalcy of some kind of thing like that, and they're trying to like create a normalcy, but at the same time, it also creates like a disidentification.
Right.
Or
Were you in here when I made that tolerance analogy the other night? That it's like drugs, you know, that they're upping our tolerance level to the nonsense to where we just don't give a shit about anything anymore, and they could do whatever they want.
Right. Marry a tree. I'm in a romantic relationship with my doll.
Yeah, my doll. There was a friend of mine on Facebook had posted pictures of a guy at a buffet with his doll in Vegas, like Texas somewhere. I forgot. But he brought his love doll into this restaurant and bought it dinner.
Sad. Hope they had to go, huh?
No, they had a table like two away from her. I'll find a
I
picture.
meant doggy bag. A doggy bag.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, or he ate both. Who knows?
Yeah, honey, what are you feeling like? Okay, well, I'm feeling like noodles. And that's depravity, you know, and that's I can't agree with that at all. And I think to have that spirit in the human idea, that's like a virus, in my opinion. You know, like it is a abrasive way to put it, but that type of idea is anti-human, very much so. And for anybody who promotes such an idea, needs to really look at what it is promoting in the end, what the end game is for it.
all right, gentlemen, I need to crash for this good night. It's been great
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, it was provocative and
Good night.
good.
All right.
All right, all.
All right, good night.
Good night. Thanks.
Yeah.
Sorry, my other friend Aaron couldn't make it because he's an ex-Pentecostal, and you guys would have had some good times to talk about.
Yeah.
So maybe next
Maybe
time I
next
get him
time.
on, I'll let you know.
Right on, Jerry. Thanks a lot for the invite, man.
Anytime, dude. Thank you for reaching out.
Yep.
You take care.
Not a problem. Have a good night, guys. Bye.
Bye. It's just me.
Nope. Are you ending the stream?
I was considering it. Everyone took off. Everyone got triggered.
Oh, okay.
Greg, come save us. I'll find him.
I was gonna say about the whole angel thing, because
Yes, I wanted you to talk. I know you were hiding.
Yeah, I didn't want to be. I was studying angels because I wanted to get into angel conjuring again, and I kept accidentally finding things on fallen angels. Go figure, which is pretty hilarious. So I found out that the exact number of angels that fell was exactly one third. Like, there's a definitive number of how many angels there were.
Yep.
Like, like in the trillions or something. And right to the number, exactly one third fell. So I'm sort of thinking, like,
What's that total number though?
you know, I don't know because it's a bunch of different numbers. You have to just look it up.
No,
Um,
I didn't know if you knew. I'm sorry. I didn't. No.
yeah, it's like a bunch of numbers. It's like 1973. It's it's like in the billions or trillions. And
Okay.
to thinking like, what if one third of the angels was programmed to fall? Because if you think about it, like Christians, they probably think that demons are so evil and whatever, and it was a choice for them. But why would exactly one third fall if they weren't pre-programmed to fall in the first place? That's what I think.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't. If they even fell, you know, for all we know, this place could have just rendered 200 years ago or whatever. Or yesterday for all we know. It's
Yeah, I don't. I'm just using their terminology or their jargon or whatever against them.
I got you. One of
so,
Right?
one of the things I've been.
so
No, go ahead. Go.
sorry. I just forgot it anyways. There was
And you
another
were working.
point.
You wanted to work with angels, and right.
Something about the programming. I can't remember.
That you felt that a third of them were programmed to fall.
Yeah. So I was thinking. Oh yeah. Okay, I remembered. So basically, they're demonized because they chose to follow Lucifer and fall and all that. Blah 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 blah. And so, but what if whoever created them? So God created them, right? And He programmed them all because I've conjured them before, and they basically are like light programs.
Hmm.
If
That
He's so if He's so almighty and all that, wouldn't He have had the foresight to have seen them fall? So that just proves, or that just makes sense to me that He would program them to be like that, anyways, and be rebellious. Honestly. If he was almighty, I don't think it would have been such a surprise, honestly.
that's a really good point.
Yeah, it is a good point.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, but the whole time that one guy was talking, I was like rolling my eyes.
I know.
We're just getting perspective. Everyone's perspective. No one's right or wrong. It's just.
Yeah, I know. It's just I wanted to say some things. Not anything mean, but, you know, I couldn't get a word in
Look,
at all.
what did you say? It was 28 or something. You're not going to talk that guy out of his religion. It has to
Yeah,
be.
of
It
course
has to
not.
be. Yeah. I mean, and to make points like that, it's just going to make him mad or trigger him. I don't want that to happen. I just want
Yeah.
healthy discussion
No.
and express both sides nicely, so
Yeah.
so he can consider it. We talked about some things tonight that he probably never thought of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did have some good points, and I
Exactly.
agreed with him on,
Yeah,
yeah, you
of
can get
course.
everybody's perspective, but when you start talking about abortion and how people feel, that's like getting into politics. You don't, you know, you want to join that kind of group, or, you guys want to talk about that, then okay. I just, for me, I can't.
I was
I'm
hanging out in the
out.
chat. I missed that whole thing.
Oh, you didn't hear that?
Not a word of it.
Yeah, he wanted
The
to
abortion.
know how everybody felt about abortion and
Yep.
on and on, and he was saying, you know, when does life begin? Stuff like that.
Uh,
You know, it's personal for me, and I would never ask anybody. But that's
ask what?
I would never publicly ask somebody how they felt about abortion.
Why not? Well, if you believed it was
I don't
wrong
know.
and you felt strongly about it and you were, you know,
Because I think it's a personal decision, and I don't think that, I mean, look at history. Look at how many Christians have killed abortion doctors,
no, no,
but
this
they're claiming that
maybe,
it's
maybe,
wrong.
maybe.
Death is wrong,
But the
or
Christians are a death cult.
killing. Yeah, I know. Anyway, it's a very, very personal subject, and um just I don't I don't know. I mean, yeah, people could talk about it in public, but I won't. So, and I won't ever ask anybody. Anyway, that's why I left.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
You were too busy rolling your eyes.
No, Suzanne.
Yeah.
Suzanne hasn't figured out how to deflect yet,
I
and
haven't.
as I told people in chat, I'm gonna keep triggering you fuckers till you get it.
But I'm not sitting here smoking pot, and maybe if I was stoned,
Yeah, but if we got to get through the maze and you stop to argue with the abortion question,
well, that's why I left, because I wasn't gonna,
but
like
that
I'm
doesn't
not gonna
help
put
you.
myself in that
It
position.
doesn't help you get past it. To ignore it.
But I didn't want to hear
You were triggered
I
by
didn't
it.
want to hear an hour of talking about
You
abortion.
think I
That's
did?
not getting any
No,
solutions.
I know. I didn't. I honestly
That's
did.
my point.
I
There's no
did.
solution in that.
I didn't hear the abortion
So,
thing. I didn't hear it, so I can't talk about it.
no, I know. And so I put the thing in the chat for it's a handbook about healing, but it's called the Rife Handbook, and it's about
Dr. Royal Rife was who you were looking for before.
Dr. Royal Rife, yeah. And the handbook is really good. It has a lot of different doctors and their techniques, and what they found out about frequencies and vibrations and
Each organ has its own frequency,
light.
right? Wasn't Gabe Cruz talking about
Yes.
this last year? What happened to that dude? He
I don't know.
like Miles is slowly losing his good people.
Because they kept wanting, oh, yay, he's back.
Triggered.
Dude.
I got no time for that, man. I don't know.
That's why I was in chat.
I had to leave too.
He's a nice guy. He does good work. He's honest.
He is a nice guy.
He's passionate about his
yeah.
beliefs. I have no problem with him. He wanted to come on, or I invited him on. He didn't ask me. So I thought maybe we'd get.
No,
Aaron was in chat earlier, by the way. Aaron David, and
who's that? Rufus Cat?
Aaron David, Charm the Water.
Oh, that guy. Okay.
And he's an ex-Pentecostal. And I'm like, Aaron, get your ass in here.
That's me, man.
Hmm?
That's me, man. Same thing.
You're ex-Pentecostal?
You're ex-Pentecostal?
Nope.
But you're not a practicing magician like him.
No. No, I don't know. I don't want to mess with any of that because I feel like if I were to venture into that, I would get the most fucked up spirit and it would just fuck my life forever. That's me, man. I don't know.
You get what you want, you know. It depends on the system of magic you use. If you use something more scientific like Goetia or Greco-Egyptian magic, that stuff was pretty result-oriented, I would say.
I've like everything I have.
What?
I said, yep, summoning demons.
Yep, it's perfect. It's science. It really
Yeah.
is. But anyway, sorry.
Just
go ahead.
don't be an asshole.
Yeah, they're not gonna fuck with you. They're not. If you summon a demon, it's just as Sass said. You missed it before. It's program, and it has a job. If you
I noticed that of all the systems, demons are the most like Egyptian gods,
yeah.
and that they actually will punish you if you do bad things, but they were actually super protective. Like you would think that a demon would be something you would go to if you're immoral, but that's like the opposite. They are about purifying the soul. Working with them is like spiritual alchemy, also.
Correct. They almost are God, like a voodoo doll for your shadow in a backwards way.
Doesn't there have to be some type of an agreement though? Like,
Yeah, when you summon one, it depends.
yeah,
It
so like if
depends.
Failed
Only
It
went to a
depends.
church, he's not gonna get a.
Let Sass talk about it because she's done it.
they're actually more like if you do want something, you can make a pact. I don't really make pacts, but they're actually more like people in the way that they're not really gonna do much for you if they barely know you. You know, some of them might offer themselves to help you. I've had that with like the lower levels. Like troops and all that. They'll be like, "Hey, I can help you with this because, well, when you work with the spiritual world long enough, you do get, some sort of fame. So other spirits do recognize you as a magician or whatever. But basically, if you do have to get to know them, and
No, I mean like in for something to have like if Failed was worried about going to a Pentecostal church that he would get a bad spirit. And what I'm saying is, I think you have to agree for that to happen, right? Isn't that? And you have to say,
it's about your perception. If you think you're gonna get something bad, that's what's gonna
then that's
happen.
going to happen.
I was saying that I did go to church for a long time and I gave it up. It's not real. Well,
Yeah.
for me, there's a spiritual world. Even you guys talking about the magic stuff, it's nothing there. For me, in my point of view, there's no spirit world. There's no other side. Ghosts, I don't know. It's not.
It's
I've
not in
never
your
never
reality.
seen it or felt it. So for me, it's not anything really.
What if one day all that shit just shows up in your front yard? What are you gonna do?
We'll be talking him off the wall.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's like, what was that show? Ghostbusters, where the whole freaking city is overrun by ghosts. I don't know. Then I'll be like, Jerry, fuck do I do then? I don't know. For me, I don't feel it. It doesn't. It's not believable. I look at, I don't know, certain things like science, and you can theorize something, the experiment, and then the results, right? The spiritual thing, well, everybody says, well, it depends on what you bring. It depends on what you do. I just, I don't know.
Then don't. Then
So
don't know.
I just don't do it, and that's it. That's for me.
Do
That's
it.
me.
And there's nothing
That's
wrong
me.
with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't know. I don't want to shit on people who are Christians, but it's just kind of like you don't see everything.
I think all religions pretty much put those blinders on you. The fundamental Christian, evangelical ones in Christianity are the worst, but
Me too.
It's a hard
I
thing.
don't
Like
know.
people say it's real and they see it, but I've never seen it. I've never experienced it. And I've tried to make it, and it just doesn't happen. So yeah.
Yep.
Jerry, I got my statue. It's so cute.
I saw. Oh, fuck. God damn it.
What does it look
I
like?
saw your post. Where did I see that? On Twitter? Oh, you made the video. You made a video about it. I was your first thumbs up.
It's all looped up.
That's cool.
That's cool.
I have roast on her.
Was it on a unicorn?
No, it's on a wolf.
She's on a wolf.
The native.
Does she have an owl face? What's her face? I can't see her
It's an owl
face.
face.
It's a
Sorry.
what?
Yeah, she's an owl face.
Okay, that's what I thought. Cool.
And she has a dick.
I bet you like that.
Yeah, bisexual goals, am I right? Let me see her dick.
Very
Oh
nice.
yeah.
She has a dick and balls and boobs. She's awesome. And a sword.
And she has a sword, that's right.
2 swords.
2 swords.
2 swords.
This statue only has 1 sword, but she does have 2 swords.
We can't.
Is that a penis
Well,
analogy?
We can't.
Oh,
her
yeah.
penis is
Yeah.
a sword.
A flesh sword
It's
and a skin flute.
small.
It's both.
I think she's circumcised. I can't tell. That's sort of sad.
Not Jewish. So, what I was going to say before, but didn't want to say with a mouthful of food, was one of the things I've been thinking about lately is the relationship of the zodiac to Goetia, and like the angles. You have to be, facing a certain direction during a certain time of day. It's really kind of a. I mean, I don't know how they correlate, but they correlate at some level. I think. I think the degrees. Just the whole name angels is like an anagram of angles, and you call specific angels at a certain angle. Like who's the angel in north? Is it Michael? Or is he east? I don't remember which one he is. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What?
Michael's south.
Okay, well I don't know. I'm not into that. I'm just saying you have to face south, which is a specific angle from your perspective, right? It's a compass angle. You could call it 90 degrees, whatever. But it's just interesting the nameplay and the zodiac kind of look. I saw this Goetia wheel. I think it was that dude. What's his name? Runyon Poke. Is that him? I saw his video, and he's got this wheel he made, this multicolor wheel. No, maybe it was someone else. I don't remember. I don't remember where I saw it. Basically, it built a hierarchy in a circular fashion, with the angels on the outer ring. It might have been Jake Stratton Kent talking about it, but I don't recall. You get my drift though. There's a relationship there, I think, between the math and the magic.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of complication put into the game of the Goetia on purpose to make it less accessible. Because I really don't resonate with any of the more complicated aspects at all.
But are your operations as successful as people who do stick to the rigorous ritual?
They're a lot less dangerous.
Which are the ones sticking to the ritual?
The people who use the traditional methods, and I've used the traditional methods, but I couldn't finish the conjurations because the rest of the conjurations were all negative and cursing the baby or the spirit. Which to me, I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to do the Bornless One invocation. And so far, they're actually pretty cool, but I only used them to get to know them back then.
Cool.
Sorry, I have too much information. I guess ask one question at a time. I've been working with them for years, so it's weird.
Sure. No.
There was a lot of study because there's so much controversy with them about them being good or bad, But to me, I found out that they're actually like people, in that they have, we're on the spectrum of good and evil, and we all have good sides and bad sides, and that's exactly how they are.
Yeah, that's I think so too. And yeah, Reamsy was right. I'm sorry, Poke Runyon, not Runyon Poke. I only watched it once. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's pretty cool looking, and it reminded me of a lot of things, but mainly the Zodiac wheel. I think I think I don't know. There's something to the Zodiac. I think the Zodiac programs us or gives us some kind of something. Our signs and how
Yeah.
the frequencies when we're born, all that shit. But I think that ties back into the angel magic or whatever. It has to, because it just has to. We wouldn't be able to communicate with them if it didn't. It's kind of my feelings.
All right, guys.
What?
Oh, you mean the commercial?
Yeah, you crashing, dude?
Yeah. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, take care.
Good night.
Yeah, I get to go to bed early tonight. NIB, does that mean new inbox, Darcy? Well, isn't people are talking in chat? Speculum's here. Hey, Speculum, she woke up finally. Um, I gotta send her a thing. We'll get more people. Momentito. How did this happen? Oh, that didn't happen. Dooby dooby doo. I should shut up. Alright. Do 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 do. So, how was everyone's weekend?
Pretty cool. I got my statue and an alchemy book.
I got a new T-shirt today.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's I show
I
you.
got the complete idiot's guide to alchemy.
Oh, that's cool.
All right, cool. There's this place I get T-shirts from. Oh, that's pretty
Pretty
cool.
cool so far.
Who's into Twin Peaks? Anyone watch Twin Peaks out there?
A long time ago.
No, didn't the new one start?
I don't know. I haven't watched it.
I'm not talking. I was talking to to
Oh, sorry.
the peanut gallery. Anyway, it's from the first the third season, first episode of the third season of Rick and Morty. Um, did you hear the story that they I haven't watched it yet, but there's something in it about Szechuan sauce that came out with the Mulan movie or the Mulan, and McDonald's was talking about resurrecting it because it was so popular, which that all seemed like a giant marketing ploy. But anyway, I found this shirt. Damn it. Oh, I gotta put it right here. This one. I don't want a chance losing it. I haven't seen it. See it? It's in the chat. Never mind. It's like Rick's Szechuan dipping sauce. Nugget dipping sauce. Oh, never mind.
Oh,
What?
beautiful.
Yeah, they've got some good artists there. They got the two dragons.
Yeah. I like the color scheme.
Yeah, me too. It's a nice shirt. And I had one yesterday. It was the Hal Bacon one came yesterday. I go on these T-shirt buying springes. It's binges. It's weird. And this particular place has grab bags occasionally for like $6 T-shirts, but you don't get to pick it. But they really don't have any bad ones except the anime ones. They're kind of bogus. Did you see Pacific Rim? Anyone? Yeah. They had they had a bunch of kaiju uh, shirts back then. They even had a kaiju versus Cthulhu shirt, which I own.
Mhm.
That's the one I had yesterday. And I gotta put a link Look out for the folks. What?
I said, oh, nice to the hell bacon.
Yeah, I like that one. Here's Grandpa's dipping sauce. It's Rick. Tricky Ricky. All right, no one's coming. So what? Grim and Ghost. Grim and James crashed.
Yeah.
Or are they hiding in Discord?
Oh, I don't know. I've been Discord. Maybe they did. Maybe they are.
No.
I don't know. I think James had a big day with
He was at the
the
game or
game and
something.
everything. Yeah. He was probably pretty tired. And then Grim has to go to work in the morning, so.
Right. Cool. Well, I'm happy crashing. You guys ready? Call it a night? Not go for 10 hours tonight?
We can call it a night.
Right on. Yeah. The bubble burst. We'll do that next time. Someone else. Keep it in the family. Get weird. Get weird and crazy on our own. Keep the Bible out of it.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
All right, take care. Thanks for coming on.
Good night,
Thanks everyone for watching. Sorry it sucked.
Yeah. Didn't suck.
Sorry it didn't suck. It's not like a show.
No, it's just a chat.
We don't know. We're still trying to figure out what it is.
Yeah, we are.
We still need to know what the acronym means. Right?
The Hive?
We have to figure out what
H.I.V.E?
We have to figure out what that acronym is.
Yeah, we do.
All right. Bye. Thanks for
research.
coming. Take care. Good night. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye. Sweet dreams.
Yep, you too.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.